Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Doug Brown. The NBA trade deadline has come and gone. ESPN's Adrian Wojnarowski reports the 76ers get Buddy Hield in a trade with the Pacers. Indiana gets Marcus Morris, Furkan Korkmaz, and 3 second-round picks. Our Brian Windhorst reports Hornets forward Miles Bridges would not approve a trade and will stay in Charlotte. Bridges will be an unrestricted free agent in the summer. Should the Lakers have considered trading LeBron James? ESPN's Bobby Marks.
I would have. Because here's the thing. If they were in the Eastern Conference, I could say, you know what? This thing is wide open. Man, that Western Conference is brutal right now.
Bobby Marks on Unsportsmanlike. The Knicks today get Bojan Bogdanovic and Alec Burks in a deal with the Pistons. In return, Detroit gets 4 players and 2 future second-round draft picks. And our Adrian Wojnarowski reports the Mavericks are finalizing deals to get P.J. Washington from the Hornets and Daniel Gafford from the Wizards.
Hey, it's your resident Super Bowl champ, Chris Candy, coming up Friday. I'll tell you the one Chiefs player no one is talking about, not named Patrick Mahomes, that will have the biggest impact on the game. It's Unsportsmanlike, 6 a.m. Eastern, right here on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge Studios.
Let's ride.
And off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR, I'm Matt.
Love you, Matt.
Paul O'Neill.
They're chanting Paul O'Neill's name.
Yusuf. And Mr. Toby Tumpley. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there and make it a good one. Ton to do. Sam Spiegelman recapping National Signing Day in 15 minutes. David Dellucci talking some SEC baseball in an hour. Timmy B in hour 3, but let us begin as we do every single day.
It's time to pop the top on another edition of AFR with Bud Light. Drink easy.
LSU basketball took it on the chin. Pels got a nice win. I want to start with some Brian Kelly reaction from signing day yesterday. We'll get to that real quick, though. Tigers lose by 20 on Rocky Top, 88-68. I don't think this was any great surprise. Here was Matt McMahon after the loss.
You know, the first half, you're on your heels because poor offense, some poor shot selection there early, turnovers. Now you're in transition, one of the top 5 transition teams in America. And credit to them. They stepped up and knocked down open threes there in the first half, got off to a great start, and we were playing from behind the entire evening.
Yeah, you blinked, it was 10-0. LSU got down 28 in the second half. They did a great job just to get it respectable there in the final 4 minutes or so, and then Tennessee polished it off. So no great crime there. The final score is immaterial. LSU had a steep hill to climb there. No Rocky Top, pun intended. But they lose on the road 88-68 to Tennessee. Flip side, I was high-fiving myself last night because I stayed up until 11:32 p.m. last night to watch the Pels polish it off. Can I get a round of applause for me? Everybody over there?
Worth it, too, wasn't it?
Thank you. It was.
Yeah.
Man, every time the Clips looked like they might be about to make a run, the Pels made the big shot. Zion, gets his own offensive rebound in the lane, put back. CJ with a big 3. Just felt like every time they needed the shot, they got it. Here was Willie Green after that win.
I like the fact that we were aggressive, we were physical, and we contested all their shots. We finished possessions.
They're a good team. They're one of the best in the league for a reason. They're sound defensively. They got a ton of guys that can come in and hurt you on the offensive side of the ball. So Herb was great, Dyson, B.I., Z, across the board, JV, CJ, Larry. And like I told the team, this was a true character win against a worthy opponent.
Let's name everybody on the roster by their initials in that soundbite. That's effective the way they did it. CJ had 25 last night. So Pels are back on the floor on Friday against the Lakers, staying out there in L.A. We'll talk more about that. But different dichotomies there for LSU and for the Pels last night on the hardwood. Tough loss for LSU. Really nice win by the Pelicans, beating the top seed in the West right now in the Clippers. And oh, by the way, hat tip to the Otter. If you weren't here for Otter Locks, Jimmy kind of disclosed that. Have you ever heard him talk about this angle before that he told us yesterday?
I have not.
So the angle was an old friend of his, longtime sports bettor. Team he said in basketball and hockey, they go on a long road trip. First game home, go the other way because family, kids, tickets, everything. They're drives them crazy. Well, there were two last night. It was the Pels and the Pistons, and both were double-digit road winners as underdogs last night. So, tell you what, Pels got a 4-game road swing here. They'll be home next week against Washington. I'll tell you, I'll be betting on the Wizards.
They referenced the Clippers getting in at 2 a.m. multiple times in the broadcast last night, too.
That's what it is, man. Yeah. That's what it is. Okay, it's after further review. We're glad you're bored with us here. Signing day was Wednesday, the traditional signing day, the February signing day. It was an uneventful day for LSU. They signed Dominic McKinley, which we knew. They missed out on Terry Bussey. Bummer, but LSU finishes with a consensus top 10 class, as high as number 4 by on 3. We talked plenty about the class, but Brian Kelly, meeting with reporters, did talk about the portal additions. We spent so much of the time on Wednesday talking about the defense and what they still need to do there, and not as much time about the portal additions, players we knew, but this is the first time we heard Brian Kelly talk about it. First, Brian Kelly talked about this team's approach in the portal in this cycle.
We looked at it from a perspective of fit and need, but fit first. And as I've said to you before, I think it's, for us, we're going to develop and build this program with high school players and then be very strategic with the portal. It's no coincidence that 4 out of the 6 players are from the state of Louisiana and have ties to the state of Louisiana, 2 from Baton Rouge out of U-High, 2 from New Orleans and John Ehret and Warren Easton High School, and then 2 that are established players from the SEC.
Fit. This is something Brian Kelly has done since he's been here. That first year in the portal just went all after guys from the state of Louisiana who had went elsewhere and brought him back home. And it paid huge dividends that first year. And they're continuing to do that, just not in as great a numbers. As Brian Kelly has said over and over again, the intention is build, develop, retain through the high school ranks, supplement through the transfer portal. So that's what they did here. And 3 players, there were 6 transfers, but 3 on the offensive side that I think are worth bringing up, and it's Swan, Daniels, and Thomas. A.J. Swan, the quarterback, then the 2 receivers, Daniels and Thomas. And here was Brian Kelly talking about those 3.
We needed to add some offense back into an offense that lost some prolific weapons. And we do that with 3 players in particular, A.J. Swan, C.J. Daniels, and Xavier Thomas. If you take those 3 together, combined, they bring in 4,200 yards of offense total.
So Xavier Thomas was Mississippi State's leading receiver a year ago. He's from John Ehret originally before he went to Starkville. C.J. Daniels, we know, big number 1 receiver at Liberty this past season, was a 1,000-yard receiver at Liberty. And then A.J. Swan has actually started more games in the SEC than Garrett Nussmeier, who started his first game ever in the bowl game. So you bring in 3 guys that can help you. The receivers are meant to give you immediate production, veteran production. When you lose Malik Neighbors, Brian Thomas, bringing in Xavier Thomas and C.J. Daniels, you immediately replace some of that veteran production to go along with Kyron Lacey and Chris Hilton and Aaron Anderson and Shelton Sampson and a lot of the young talent you have behind there as well. These are just guys that are more established major college football players that are older in their careers right now. Brian Kelly continued on the 3.
A.J. Swan with 22 touchdown passes in 23. Jaden Daniels had 19 in his first year. So, you're bringing in somebody that you feel really good about his ability to generate offense at the quarterback position. C.J. Daniels, 1,000 yards in receiving. And Xavier Thomas, 500 yards and 40 touches. Now you've got almost 100 touches with two wide receivers that have, experience coming back into your offense.
We've talked about it before. They have more production than all of LSU's returning receivers combined. So you added veteran production there. And listen, the hope is, sincerely, that your young guys, maybe it's Shelton Sampson, maybe it's another one of the young guys, just absolutely explodes. And as a sophomore season, kind of like Malik Neighbors had once Kayshon Boutte was injured. So let's see if that can materialize that way. I guess it was the freshman season for Neighbors' sophomore year in 22. Let's see if that can materialize here for some of these young guys. And if not, what a great luxury to have these veteran guys. And one more from Brian Kelly on the offense. He was asked about the success the offense has had. Like, is it easier to recruit given the success your offense had? And this sounds fairly obvious, right? I mean, you had the number one offense in the country. When you've done that, is it easier to go out and recruit offensive skill?
Well, I think we're seeing it, right? I mean, clearly this is another, top 10 recruiting class. The next year's class has gotten off to a great start. So, clearly the success that we're having and consistency of performance, in particular on the offensive side of the ball, is resonating. And, you still have to follow it up with intentional, consistent recruiting, but both of those are working together.
It's always fun to see a plan outlined and then executed. The old adage, like, tell them what you're going to tell them, then tell them what you told them. That's kind of what they're doing here. Brian Kelly is telling you what they're trying to do or what their plan was. They're executing the plan. Now can it pay the dividends? And that's what we'll find out in the fall. But they're building this roster the way Brian Kelly wanted to. Build through the high school ranks, develop and retain that high school talent, and supplement through the portal. Can it work at a national championship level? We'll start to get those answers come fall. Okay, it's after further review. Our show Open Every Day is brought to you by Bud Light. Drink easy in Louisiana with the great taste of Bud Light. What a giant week we have ahead. Super Bowl, then we've got Mardi Gras, then the opener for LSU baseball. If you're going to be out partying, celebrating, or just kicking back, make sure you got plenty of ice-cold Bud Light, the official beer of AFR, the official beer of the LSU Tigers, and an official partner of Super Bowl 58. Easy to drink, easy to enjoy. Any great local retailer, make sure you grab plenty of ice-cold Bud Light for Super Sunday with the Chiefs and the Niners. Drink easy this Super Bowl Sunday with the great taste of Bud Light, the official beer of AFR. Okay, we talked plenty of LSU signing day recap. Our buddy Sam Spiegelman, national recruiting analyst for On3, he's with us next. Talk about some of where LSU's class fits nationally and some of the big national storylines coming out of signing day. Don't you move. It's AFR.
AFR.
Brought to you by Clegg's Nursery with 4 locations in the greater Baton Rouge area. Of course, you got Super Sunday, but before the Super Bowl kicks off, you can always get by Clegg's Nursery. Any of the 4 locations will tell you, remind you where they are. But remember, it's a great time to get by Clegg's Nursery. They've got tons of rose bushes. If you want to plant rose bushes, get by Clegg's. I mean, go to their Facebook page. Go to the Clegg's Nursery Facebook page. They are so good whenever they get new shipments about posting pictures. I mean, this picture, if you're watching with us right now, I'm showing you on their Facebook page. It is just dozens and dozens and dozens and rows, seemingly endless rows of rose bushes. They got them at Clegg's Nursery, again, for more than 60 years. Sieg Near Airline, LA 16 in Denham, Mid-City on Donmore, and the Garden Center on Greenwell Springs. Get by any of the 4 Clegg's Nursery locations. Just plant something, y'all. Clegg's can help. Buy local. Shop local at Clegg's Nursery.
There it is, the extra mile. On the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further. Like vans customized for work or play. With safety and tech to keep you connected. supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs, even in the case of an after-hours emergency. The light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial properties. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Yo, Jake here from my friends over at Community Steel Company located in Gonzales, Louisiana. The local place you can turn to for all of your metal building needs. Notice I said local, not Houston, not Dallas, not Atlanta, but right here in Gonzales. Visit them at their brand new state-of-the-art website at communitysteelco.com or pick up the phone and give them a call today to answer all of your questions on your metal buildings, roofing and sheet metal, and any other steel needs.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
All right, with the traditional February signing date in the rearview mirror, good opportunity to call on our guy Sam Spiegelman, national recruiting analyst for On3. He's on Twitter at Sam Spiegs. Sam, we appreciate you, man. How are you?
Oh, I can't complain. How you guys doing?
Doing really well, man. I think Brian Kelly and his staff doing pretty well after polishing off the class the way they did. A general thought on what Kelly was able to do here in his third class at LSU?
Yeah, well, you know, it's a little bit cliche, you know, Matt. We've had this discussion in the past with all the different coaches that have come through LSU, but I think it goes worth pointing out that in the NIL era, in the transfer portal era, LSU is signing a top 10 class, and it's full of the Louisiana kids that, you know, all the fans want, all the coaches want. At different points in this cycle, it has not always looked this bright. You know, they kind of took advantage of Jimbo Fisher getting fired at Texas A&M. They went elsewhere in the country and kind of took away from Deion Sanders' momentum early in this recruiting cycle. But they end up finishing with a top 10 class. They have multiple 5-stars, multiple guys in this, you know, in the top 100 and On3's ranking. A lot of guys that at one point were either leaning or committed to their rivals. I think that the way that they've locked down the state and still managed to put together a nationally relevant class, I think speaks a lot for BK and not only the staff that's been there, but a lot of their new additions as well.
Sam, how close was LSU with Terry Bussey, as best you can tell?
It was very close, Matt. I having this discussion with other media members, you know, people connected to this recruitment. I mean, there's not been a lot of recruitments that have I think when people say it's 50-50 and it could have went either way, I think there was enough optimism that if he picked LSU, I wouldn't have been surprised. I think the only one that would have surprised me would have been Georgia, considering that a week, days after, getting back from Baton Rouge, it seemed like Georgia had kind of fallen out of the race, even though Kirby Smart went to Timpson to go try to change the 5-star's mind. But listen, Timpson, right on the border of Texas and Louisiana, he was a longtime A&M lean, but of course that staff got fired. You have to really credit what Elko and the new DB coach Ishmael Artiside did. They were part of Terry's recruitment during their first stint at A&M. They recruited him a little bit at Duke and really turned up the heat when they arrived. And LSU also had to overcome the fact that Kerry Cooks, who was Terry's lead recruiter, is obviously not a part of the staff. Corey Raymond did a really fantastic job of kind of selling Terry on obviously competing for playing time day one. Frank Wilson was a big part of this recruitment. Sherman Wilson, the new DC, Blake Baker, was a big part of this recruitment. And I think, he had a lot of LSU fans in his corner, in his circle. That's why I would say LSU finished second before the Aggies in September. They got him back on campus a few weeks later, and then that midweek unofficial, it was as close as you get, but he's still a Texas kid and top priority for that staff.
Sam Spiegelman's our guest, national recruiting analyst for On 3. What SEC school made a splash in this recruiting cycle, Sam? Not just with the February finish, but just the cycle as a whole now that it's finished?
I think Auburn made a pretty good splash. Auburn kind of beat Alabama on a couple of guys. They beat Georgia on a couple of guys. And we're talking about how close LSU was with Terry Bussey. Auburn was pretty close with Ryan Williams, who ended up going back to Alabama in the end. They nearly flipped KJ Bolden, who obviously ended up at Georgia, and Georgia put together obviously the number one class in the country. I don't know if it's a surprise, because that's kind of what's expected for Kirby, and probably will be the short-term expectation now that Nick Saban has hanged up his cleats. But I think Hugh Freeze was a fantastic recruiter at Ole Miss. Now that he's at Auburn, I mean, there's a high expectation there, especially now that Nick Saban is not at Alabama. I think he started to take advantage, especially, they need help on both sides of the ball. That roster wasn't where it needed to be. And in the NIL era and the opportunity to tell highly regarded, future freshmen that they could come in and compete for playing time early, that's usually a pretty good formula for jump-starting the engine. And I think that's what Hugh Freeze did a little bit.
Of course, Freeze is going into year 2 at Auburn. I'm curious, Sam, the early returns on the new coaches in the conference. You mentioned Elko a little bit. Kalen DeBoer obviously getting his first taste. What have been the early returns for the new coaches in the league?
Yeah, I think Mike Elko is making a really big splash in the state of Texas. Not that Jimbo Fisher didn't carry a lot of weight when he arrived in College Station, but I think with the emergence of the Longhorns, with Brent Venables turning things around at Oklahoma pretty quickly, I think, and the obvious growing pressure on Jimbo Fisher, I think among kids notice that. They pay attention to the same things that we all do. And they felt, that A&M had talent on that roster. A&M has won some colossal national and regional recruitments over the past, half decade under Jimbo Fisher. They have 5-stars up and down, even though half of them left in the transfer portal recently. There's still a ton of future NFL players on that roster. So I think the Elko coming in, I think he's brought a real professional approach. I think obviously that's what helped him succeed at Duke. And I think that's what has really, resonated with coaches, with kids around the country. And Kalen DeBoer, I was in San Antonio, I guess it was last month, or, it all kind of molds together. But, it was asking kids what they thought about Washington and Michigan playing in the national championship. And, everyone kind of knows the brand of Michigan. It's a storied program. Jim Harbaugh is obviously a polarizing guy, but people talking about Washington, the quarterback, the wealth of receivers, the offense being a spread offense, obviously more modernized, I would say, under Kalen DeBoer. I don't think I've ever had conversations with recruits about Washington on that level of stage. Those are all blue chip recruits talking about what he was doing at Washington, and now he's at Alabama, which, like we said earlier, Nick Saban is no longer there. You don't have bigger shoes to fill, but it feels like Alabama got a really splashy hire from people who know a lot more than me and kids that are going to be playing on very big stages soon enough. So I'm really interested personally to see what he does there. I think, he has all the tools to be successful. I don't know if anyone can ever reach the same mountaintop that Nick Saban did, but
Sure.
I think Alabama found a very capable coach who is probably going to succeed based on his resume.
Sam, before you go, maybe a few bullet points nationally. Obviously, by the way, I guess I should mention there is another new coach in the league in Jeff Lebby. But they're not even the most interesting story in their own state, so we could bypass what Mississippi State did. But nationally, if you were to give me, you just mentioned Washington there, but maybe 2 or 3 bullet points nationally from this recruiting cycle that are the biggest headlines. What would you say were the things that stood out the most?
Well, in terms of players, I think it's impossible to ignore the NIL factor and transfer portal impact on high school recruiting. But I think there was, what stands out to me is the number one player in the country is Jeremiah Smith, who, again, it involves how good of a player he is. Our director of scouting, Charles Power, gave I thought, a very apt comparison with him and Cam Coleman, who's another top 4 player of Julio Jones and AJ Green back in the day. And I think Jeremiah Smith is that dude, and Ohio State had to hold off a NIL-related, down-to-the-wire recruiting battle. We talked about Terry Bussey being conflicted. Florida State was in the mix. Miami was in the mix. They're talking about a kid waiting till the 23rd hour of the day to get in his papers. And, of course, there's a lot going on behind the scenes. But in terms of talent, that's the kind of talent that we're talking about goes into Ohio State, who is already a loaded roster and makes an impact. And then nationally, I think we also talk about DJ Lagway. That was also a very polarizing recruitment. It was also, again, someone that I was pretty close to in his recruitment from the time he was a sophomore over at Willis, and he committed to Florida in December after his junior season. So think about just what he accomplished on the field. I think that's the kind of talent that, fans of Florida are waiting for to come to the Swamp. So, and with all the mounting pressure on Billy Napier, I'm really curious to see how this goes. But in terms of the NIL, you had Lincoln Riley, you had Mike Elko, you had Dabo Sweeney calling on National Signing Day Eve back in December to see how this recruitment was going. The NIL factor was, of course, a part of it. But just to show you for LSU fans coming up, the Bryce Underwood committing in January, the recruitment's not over. These recruitments have gone to a whole different level.
Sure.
In some cases, each one is different. Each one is a chameleon, but NIL and elite talent, all kind of big headlines of this 2024 class.
And that certainly is not going anywhere ever.
No, not at all.
Sam Spiegelman is our guest, national recruiting analyst for On Threes on Twitter at Sam Spiegs. We appreciate it, man, as always. Thank you.
Yep. Thanks, guys.
All right, man. Be well. Sam does a great job. We appreciate a couple of minutes there. It's After Further Review brought to you by the Williamson Eye Center. Always call 924-2020. If you want to see 2020, call 924-2020 for the Williamson Eye Center. Dr. Blake Williamson and the gang, man, they do awesome work. I know I've shared with you over the years. I say it doesn't matter your age or your refractive issue. I mean, just think about it. I had LASIK. Hester, a few years back, went to the Williamson Eye Center, had PRK. He had LASIK done years before when he was still playing football and now had PRK done. Jimmy Ott had the lens replacement done. He was very nearsighted. Very farsighted. So, it was tough to read and see things nearby. So, you're holding the book, the menu far away from you. You can take care of that potentially with a lens replacement. My point is, it doesn't matter what the issue is. Ophthalmology has grown and advanced so much to where there is a refractive option for you, but you got to go for that consultation. You got to trust Dr. Blake Williamson, the absolute best, to go walk you through that consultation, what your options are, and you'll be thrilled like I am. It's the Williamson Eye Center. 924-2020, 924-2020, or williamsoneye.com. Okay, it's After Further Review. We're glad you're hanging out with us here. Thanks to Sam Spiegelman. David Dellucci is going to be here in 45 minutes from right now. We'll talk with Luch about the SEC preseason all-conference team, which was released today, as well as the preseason projected order of finish. For whatever it is worth, and take it for whatever it's worth, which may not be very much at all. LSU was picked second in the West behind Arkansas, and Florida was picked to win the East. So, look, you're really splitting hairs in the SEC. In the East, they went Florida, Tennessee, Vandy, South Carolina, Kentucky, Georgia, Missouri. In the West, Arkansas had 87 points, LSU had 82 points. I mean, so it was so close. Probably the biggest differentiator was just all the talent that LSU lost. I mean, you all know the names from Skeens and Cruz and Floyd, Trey Morgan, Gavin Dugas, Cade Beloso. And we know the names. I mean, it's just Jordan Thompson, all the guys that were so integral to your national championship. It's easy to look and say, man, how do you replace that much production? So even with all of that lost production, LSU was still picked just a hair behind Arkansas in the West. And when you look at the overall championship votes, Arkansas got 9, LSU got 3, Florida got 2. So 3 teams received votes to win the overall league championship. Anyway, we'll get David Dellucci's thoughts on that coming up here in about 45 minutes. Of course, Luch, former Ole Miss great, part of the SEC Network's SEC baseball coverage. So we'll look forward to breaking it all down as we're a little more than a week away. We're 8 days away from the start of the LSU baseball season. Okay, it's after further review. Let me knock out a quick break. We will come back, go around the SEC. Glad you're hanging out on AFR.
AFR.
Man, I love telling you about Action Industries, an official partner of LSU Athletics. Of course, as we mentioned, LSU baseball 8 days away. Whenever you got pitchers on the mound that are struggling and you got mound visits, either LSU or the opponent, all of those mound visits this season long are going to be brought to you by Action Industries. So when you're out at the box, you'll be hearing plenty of Action Industries. You're listening on the radio, whatever it may be, Action Industries. Love telling you about Action Industries. They've been servicing all the chemical plants and the refineries up and down the river since 1982. They're a full-service contractor, and they are hiring. So if it's A-class carpenters, pipe fitters, heavy equipment operators, combo welders, all positions, all staff, they are hiring at Action. So you can apply at their Geismar office on Highway 30 in Geismar or call 402-0645, 402-0645.
It was a humid day, barefoot children play, looking for that summer shade. Time just slips away. Oh, Louisiana, some kind of hold on me. Like cypress stumps, your roots are planted deep inside of me.
There's never been a better time to catch a John Deere deal from the crew of Sunshine. Ask us about our low monthly payment options on our tractor packages and let the good times roll. With equipment strong enough to power one of the world's largest celebrations, we've got your needs covered too. Learn more about what it means to be powered by Sunshine at sunequip.com. Some restrictions apply. See dealer for details. Offer ends April 30th, 2024.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz vans.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs, even in the case of an after-hours emergency.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
Hey, remember, we talked each day this week about a former LSU assistant who's been in the news. On Monday, Durante Jones was interviewing for the Giants defensive coordinator job. Yesterday, we talked about Doug Mallory, if you remember, as a former LSU defensive coordinator with Bradley Dale Pivito in 2008. Well, we learned he's leaving Michigan for the Baltimore Ravens. And then today we find out that former LSU special teams coordinator Thomas McGahee is going to be the new special teams coordinator for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So, I mean, like every day, it's like, which former LSU assistant's in the news? Are we going to get an update on Brick Haley tomorrow?
Well,
anybody?
Maybe we mix some offensive guys in too, maybe? I mean,
does anybody know where Gary Croton is?
The Wizard.
I don't know. What is the What about Billy Gonzalez? Is
Jake
he still
Peets?
coaching?
Where's Jake
Well, that's
Peets?
a little more recent. I think we even learned that. Didn't Jake Peets interview for some OC job
Okay.
I think that happened. Adam Henry?
Adam Henry.
Remember
That'd
Adam
be a
Henry,
good,
the
yeah,
wide
that'd be
receiver
a good
coach?
one.
Adam Henry. Boy, he produces NFL wide receivers. His ability to teach you into the cut and get it. Adam Henry. Has anyone seen Earl Lane? Can I get an update on Earl Lane anywhere? It's LSU assistants. They're popping up every day. It's like the ghosts of LSU assistants past. All right, it's after further review. We're glad you're hanging out with us here. David Dellucci, about 45 minutes from right now. We're looking forward to that. We do it every day about this time. Let's go around the SEC.
Around the SEC, bringing you the biggest news from the nation's best conference, the Florida Gators.
Billy Napier, when talking about his signing class and announcing the start of spring practice March 7th, gave an update on some injured players. So quarterback Graham Mertz, the starter from a year ago, Napier said, will be fully healthy for the start of spring practice. He had a non-displaced fracture of his collarbone, which cost him the end of the season. There were three other injuries. Shamar James dislocated a kneecap. Justice Boone and Cam Carroll each tore ACLs. It is unlikely that the three are full participants in spring, but Billy Napier said he would give an update as they got closer.
The Auburn Tigers.
Auburn is expected to hire Vontrell King-Williams as their next defensive tackles coach. He's previously on staff as an analyst a year ago, but coached defensive tackles at Eastern Michigan, and was actually also on staff with Hugh Freeze at Liberty. Hugh Freeze, of course, now the head coach at Auburn. King-Williams will be defensive. He'll be on DJ Durkin's staff. On-field, Durkin, of course, spent the last 2 years at A&M.
The Kentucky Wildcats.
Kentucky's picked up a commitment from Georgia linebacker Quintavious Norman, 6'3", 205. Runs a 4.4 40. He can fly. He's a big kid, as we mentioned. He's the younger brother of Titans cornerback Tay Gowan. So Quintavious Norman committed to Kentucky now for the class of 2025. He is the number 93 linebacker in the country. Trying to see if it listed the other schools that he had considered. It doesn't. Oh, well.
The Arkansas Razorbacks.
And Arkansas got a commitment from a 2025 offensive lineman, Karis Kern, 6'4", 300, chose the Hogs over Georgia. Interest from LSU, Ole Miss, Missouri, Florida, Tennessee, a whole bunch. He's the fifth commit for the Razorbacks in 2025, the number 175 overall prospect in the country, the number 19 offensive tackle. Okay, there you have it. That is around the SEC. We're glad to have you aboard with us here. Love telling you about Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. We are 6 days away from Valentine's Day, gentlemen. Thrill her with a gift in the red box. As Lee Michaels is fond of saying, flowers die, chocolates get eaten, but a beautiful sparkling diamond will thrill her forever. So, thrill her on Valentine's with a gift in the red box from Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. Maybe it's a watch or a pendant, earring, bracelets, so many amazing options. But, gentlemen, if you're thinking of popping the question, remember, you're making a lifetime decision. That is a piece of jewelry. That is a diamond. That is a symbol of your love that she will look at literally every day for the rest of your lives together. Make it special. Lee Michaels always gives you the Lee Michaels experience. It's why they've been thriving for more than 40 years. 2 locations in Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Lafayette, Shreveport, 10 locations in all. You always get a beautiful diamond and the Lee Michaels experience. Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, lmfj.com, lmfj.com for Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. One of the big talking points all week out of the Super Bowl has been the conditions of the field at UNLV. I think everyone's heard this by now. The Niners are practicing at UNLV. The Chiefs are practicing at the Raiders facility. And so the Chiefs have just much better facilities to deal with than the Niners do at UNLV. Well, this coincides with the release of a survey from the NFL Players Association, and Lloyd Howell is the executive director of the NFLPA now. And this survey of NFL players revealed that 92% of NFL players want grass over artificial turf. 92%. Like, this isn't 60-40, y'all. It ain't like 58-42. 92% of NFL players say they want grass. I don't know how NFL ownership can ignore that. You know, we just learned this week the sites for the 2026 World Cup. It's a joint World Cup from the U.S. and Mexico. We learned what the sites will be. The NFL stadiums that have turf are going to plant grass fields for the World Cup matches as mandated. Now, I know there's a lot of people, and by the way, the evidence over the years has been conflicting. Like, it really, like, they've done surveys to show, you know, non-contact injuries on artificial turf as opposed to natural grass, and the difference in the surveys we've seen has been negligible. But if 92% of your employees are all telling you the same thing, there has to be merit to it, be it the wear and tear on the body, how it feels, how it performs. I mean, I think all the time about this. It was fascinating. When all the Deflategate stuff was going on, do you all remember that? I mean, I'm sure, of course you do. Well, Drew Brees went on Conan. And I know I've referenced this, and you probably remember it when I say it. Drew Brees went on Conan, and Conan was handing Drew Brees balls that were at different PSI. And he just had Drew guess what PSI, just by holding, squeezing, just feeling the football, just to guess the PSI, and he got all 3 of them. Boom, boom, boom. Knew exactly the PSI of the football. Because when every single day of your life, that's what you do. You have a football in your hand. Like, you just know. And it kind of feels like the same thing, man. When these guys are on a football field every single day of their life, like, you can tell differences that might be subtle to you or me, but to them it's obvious. So if 92% of your players are telling you we want grass over turf, give them grass fields. I understand the reason not to. It's more of a cost. It's more of an upkeep. With a turf field, it's a one-time cost. You put in the artificial surface, and then you have basically a sweeper that just goes up and down the field to clean it. That's kind of it, as opposed to the maintenance to keep a natural surface alive. So I get it. But that's the same reason why you don't have full-time officials. I mean, even these billionaire owners, like, you don't become a billionaire by hating money. Like, you learn how to respect money and cut costs where you can and save where you can and spend on assets as opposed to liabilities. And all, I mean, you get it, but this one feels kind of obvious. The gigantic question, though, is like, what if, let's say the NFL does mandate grass fields? What do you do in New Orleans? Like, I would have to have some kind of like horticulturist or somebody come explain that to me, because I don't know what you would do. I know back years ago in Houston, they used to like roll the surface out on the field. It was a quagmire. It was terrible. The injuries in Houston were were exponentially higher than any other field because of that. So they changed the surface. So I'm curious, like, what would you do at a place like New Orleans? It's not like, in Arizona, it's like on a tray. The field is on a tray, so they can roll it out outside so it gets sunlight, then they roll it back in when it's time to play. Well, you can't do that in New Orleans. I mean, you're not going to roll the friggin' surface right into the Hyatt or Macy's over there. You know what I mean? So it's like, what are you going to do? I don't know, but we'll see. We'll follow this. Again, 92% of NFL players say they prefer grass over turf. We'll see if the NFL acts. Okay, it's after further review. We're glad you're with us. Let me knock out a quick break. We'll come back, and I'll wrap up hour number 1. It's AFR.
AFR.
Buying or selling, commercial or residential. If you need a realtor, you need Darren James. Darren James & Associates, brokered by LPT Realty. That's right, Darren James has joined LPT Realty, the fastest growing real estate company literally ever. In 1 year, LPT Realty has gone from no realtors to 8,000 realtors. And Darren James is part of the squad. As a matter of fact, there's a new partner as well, Christopher Davis, part of LPT Realty, joining the squad as well. So if you're a realtor with another company, or if you're a realtor thinking about getting your real estate license, it's worth calling Darren James and learning about what LPT Realty can do for you and how they are reinventing the real estate game. It's agent225.com.
Think real estate, think Darren James.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has $20,000 off new 23 Ram 1500 Black Widow trucks, $20,000 off new Ram 1500 trucks, and all new Bayou Automotive vehicles come with a 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
The best kept secret in town is out. Discover Tallulah at the Renaissance Hotel on Bluebonnet.
Join MMR and ignite your career today. MMR is the largest electrical and instrumentation contractor in the nation, and they're seeking talented individuals to join their team. For over 3 decades, they've been headquartered right here in Baton Rouge, and they have offices all around the globe.
And MMR offers a tailored path for both professional and personal development, outstanding benefits, and a dynamic culture. So whether you're an intern, a seasoned pro, or you're just starting out, see what MMR can offer you. Apply at mmrgrp.com.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Yo, Jake here from my friends over at Community Steel Company located in Gonzales, Louisiana. The local place you can turn to for all of your metal building needs. Notice I said local, not Houston, not Dallas, not Atlanta, but right here in Gonzales. Visit them at their brand new state-of-the-art website at communitysteelco.com or pick up the phone and give them a call today to answer all of your questions on your metal buildings, roofing and sheet metal.
after further review with Matt Moscona.
This February, 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge, and Citizens Bank and Trust are here to offer you a holiday rebate to the tune of a $1,000 cash prize. Signing up is as simple as heading to 1045ESPN.com. It's our annual holiday rebate gift to you from Citizens Bank and Trust and 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
Well, how about this news? Oh, Alexis Morris, national champion Alexis Morris, has a new squad. You might remember that Alexis Morris was drafted in the WNBA by the Connecticut Sun. She's currently a free agent. She went to Turkey, started this season in Turkey with Yapsi Sarsis of the Turkish Women's Super League, but now Alexis Morris be part of one of the most famous organizations in the world. Alexis Morris. That's Harlem Globetrotter. Alexis Morris. That's Alexis the Show Morris. Part of the Harlem Globetrotters organization. She is believed to be the first athlete to join the Harlem Globetrotters while also entertaining elite professional offers since Connie Hawkins played for the Globetrotters and then went on to a Hall of Fame career with the Phoenix Suns. How about that, Lex Luthor? She's been there going through Globetrotter training. I mean, you got to learn to spin the ball in your hand and your head and, put it behind your back and all that sort of stuff. And her first game is going to be tomorrow. It's Friday. Her first game with the Globetrotters at the Mass Mutual Center in Springfield, Mass., the birthplace of basketball and home of the Naismith Basketball Hall of Fame. How about that?
That's pretty cool. But you brought up, inadvertently, something up there. Why isn't her Globetrotter name going to be Lex Luthor? Like, why is it the Show? I think the Lex Luthor thing would be really cool.
Probably copyright infringement.
I mean, but you could get around that somehow, I feel like, if you altered it maybe a little. I mean, LSU was tweeting it.
If you're altering it, then you're... But they're also not promoting Lex Luthor as part of their...
I feel like
LSU didn't put anything on ticket sales or jerseys or anything that said Lex Luthor. It's different if you put on Twitter, hey, look, it's Lex.
Okay, I feel like if they really wanted to be sticklers, you could get in trouble for that too, is my point. So, I don't know. I think that'd be pretty cool. I get it, copyright, sure, but come on.
The Show. I think, Muse, with respect to you, I'm sure the Harlem Globetrotters have attorneys and legalities and divisions
of course they do.
That vastly exceed your knowledge of the law or my knowledge of the
And they're probably really skilled and could win this case.
I don't know. Maybe you don't have a case, which is why they didn't go Lex Luthor. Or you're just not interested in spending a lot of money on legal fees. But Muse, you're completely bogging down the conversation, something that doesn't matter at all. Who gives a damn if it's Lex Luthor or the Show? The point is, Alexis Morris is going to be at the Globetrotters. That's pretty stinking cool.
That is pretty cool.
Did you ever see the Globetrotters?
I did.
Yeah, I did too, at the Maravich Center years ago.
They're really entertaining, man. A lot of fun.
Yeah, imagine that. That's why they've been around for like 100 years.
Well, I mean,
if they weren't entertaining, I don't think they'd be around for as long as they have.
Not everybody probably didn't like them. I'm just saying I like them.
If they weren't entertaining, I don't think they'd been around for as long as they have, selling out arenas and whatnot. What that? Alexis Morris.
Poor
Washington. See if she,
I
know. Just can't snag one.
No.
Didn't they snag one a few years back?
I think every now and then they do.
No. It was like the longest losing streak. It was like 300 games or whatever.
Okay.
Hang on, now I'm going to look it up.
Did they?
Yes, they
won?
Here it is. Their losing streak was 2,495 games. And they finally won. Hang on. When did they snap the losing streak? It happened. In the time that I've been on air, the losing streak. Look it up, please. Google it. I need to host a show, not Google this, but please.
Okay.
All right, Google when they please do. Google when they lost when the losing streak ended. But yeah, it was 2,400 games consecutively. Anyway, whatever. You find it for me. We'll get to that here in a second. All right, it's after further review. Glad to have you aboard with us here. Love telling you about South Point Volkswagen, southpointvw.com. I should say, congratulations to Alexis Morris. That's really cool. She'll get to continue her basketball career while she continues to seek professional basketball opportunities while playing for the Globetrotters, which that's just really cool to be able to say it's something you did. southpointvw.com, new and certified, pre-owned in Baton Rouge and online at southpointvw.com, southpointvw.com. Louisiana's largest volume Volkswagen dealer. Y'all, make sure if you're in the market for a new vehicle, I've told you this every day for a decade, longer than that, put Volkswagen on your list. I had never driven a Volkswagen in my life until I bought my first one when South Point came on as an advertiser. I drove the entire line, fell in love, and that's all I've driven now for more than a decade. You go out in the parking lot, you'll see a black Volkswagen Atlas Crossport. That's mine. I love driving it. Takes out the third row, shorter, sleeker, all the style, the feel, the performance of luxury, the safety features, manufactured right here in the US of A at their Tennessee plant. South Point Volkswagen. It's southpointvw.com. South Point Volkswagen. What's your direction? Did you find it?
I did. It was not recent. It was January 5th, 1971.
That's when the losing streak ended?
Yes, that's when they 2,495 games.
What's the current streak then?
Oh, I'd have to look that back up again.
I'm telling you, no, man. It happened recently. I'm telling you, it's happened since I was on air. Like the streak, I'm telling you, it's happened since I've been there. I'm going to find it. We'll find it at the break. We'll come back. David Dellucci in 20 minutes from right now. They're leaking Hall of Fame announcements, and Tom Brady with some interesting comments on Bill Belichick. Ton to do in hour 2 right after SportsCenter. Stay here.
AFR.
Brought to you by Shawbills Tire and Auto Service. ShawbillsTire.com. ShawbillsTire.com. You know where to find them with 17 locations across South Louisiana. There's a Shawbills location nearest you. And what I love telling you about Shawbills, of course, they treat you like family, but if they're always going to get you name brand tires at wholesale prices. So right now, you can get up to $180 off on a set of 4 new Bridgestone tires. That's instantly. Also, up to $170 off a brand new set of 4 Firestone tires. And that's in store, and those are instant savings. Instant savings. And if you spend $500 on your Shawbills credit card, which of course you're buying 4 tires, you'll get another $30 mail-in rebate. So think about the money you are saving at Shawbills. You want the best tires on the road at wholesale prices? Shawbills is going to make that happen for you. Go ask about these Bridgestone and Firestone specials going on through February 10th at Shawbills, where we keep you rolling. Elevate brand visibility, ignite customer engagement with the power of radio and digital advertising combined. Guarantee Digital Media brings the two together as a trusted media partner in Louisiana for nearly a century. Claim your free digital audit at guaranteemedia.com.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales service and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
At Relief Windows, we're more than windows. We're windows, doors, party plank, and vinyl siding. But our number one product is always customer satisfaction. Visit us online at reliefwindows.com. Oh, by the way, we do shutters too.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Doug Brown. A number of NBA trades on this deadline day. The Knicks get Bojan Bogdanovic and Alec Burks from the Pistons. In return, Detroit gets Evan Fournier, Quentin Grimes, Malachi Flynn, Ryan Arcidiacono, and 2 second-round picks. ESPN's Brian Windhorst believes the Knicks have an opportunity this season.
They got to try to get that number 2 seed. The number 2 seed is important over this next 3 or 4 weeks as they get healthy. So these moves get them an opportunity that they can compete for that number 2 seed as they get healthier.
Brian Windhorst on NBA Today. Also today, the Jazz get Kyra Lewis Jr., Otto Porter Jr., and a first-round pick from the Raptors. Toronto gets Kelly Olynyk and Ochai Agbaji. ESPN's Adrian Wojnarowski reports the Nets get Dennis Schroeder and Thaddeus Young in a trade with the Raptors. Toronto gets Spencer Dinwiddie, who was then waived. Wisconsin football coach Luke Fickell tells our Pete Thamel he hopes to have former Titans coach Mike Vrabel around as much as possible in an informal role with the Badgers.
Hey, it's your resident Super Bowl champ, Chris Candy, coming up Friday. I'll tell you the one Chiefs player no one is talking about, not named Patrick Mahomes, that will have the biggest impact on the game. It's Unsportsmanlike, 6 a.m. Eastern, right here on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge Studios.
Let's ride!
Hour 2, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. It's AFR. I'm Matt.
You're a loser, Matt!
Hey, shut up, kid. Paul O'Neill.
They're chanting Paul O'Neill's name.
You suck. And Mr. Toby Tom Blake. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there, make it a good one. We'll talk a little SEC baseball with David Dellucci in about 15 minutes from right now. The coaches' preseason all-SEC team out, the projected order of finish. LSU picked second in the West behind Arkansas, who was picked to win the league. So we'll get some headlines from Luch here in about 15 minutes from right now. Tonight is the NFL Honors. So this is the NFL award show, so we'll find out all the awards. And we also find out during NFL Honors the newly minted Hall of Fame class. Well, there are apparently some Hall of Fame leaks, and 3 members of this class that are going to be inducted have been leaked out. They are Steve McMichael, Devin Hester, and Julius Peppers, 3 former members of the Chicago Bears. Steve McMichael played a defensive tackle for the Bears from 1981 to 1993, and unfortunately has been diagnosed with ALS and will not even be able to be at the announcement, as I understand it. But still honored now while he's still living. So Steve McMichael, then Devin Hester, and Julius Peppers. Peppers is a no-doubter. He's a member of the All-Decade team for both the 2000s and the 2010s, and just an absolute monster. I mean, from his time at North Carolina to when he went into the NFL, and we all saw him with Carolina Panthers, and then he bounced from the Bears and the Bears and the Packers. But Julius Peppers was an absolutely dominant player. I mean, all-decade team in 2 different decades. It was a 4-time first-team All-Pro. He was Defensive Rookie of the Year back in 2002. This was a no-doubter, first-ballot Hall of Fame for Julius Peppers. Devin Hester is the one that kind of confuses me a bit. Devin Hester is clearly going in because he's the most prolific return man in the history of the NFL. He leads the NFL all-time with 20 total return touchdowns. 14 punt return touchdowns, 5 kickoff return touchdowns, and a missed field goal that he returned 108 yards for a touchdown. And he played for the Bears and the Falcons and the Ravens and the Seahawks over his career. He was a second-round pick, played 11 seasons. But the strange thing is, like, as a receiver, Devin Hester was very average. Over his 11 seasons, Devin Hester had 255 receptions for 3,300 yards and 16 touchdowns. So Hester had more return touchdowns in his career than receiving touchdowns. For context, Marcus Colston, who never made a Pro Bowl, had 711 receptions for 9,759 yards and 72 touchdowns. So Hester caught 250 balls, Colston 711. Hester had 3,300 receiving yards, Colston 9,700 receiving yards. Hester had 16 receiving touchdowns, Colston had 72. And don't misunderstand me. I'm not arguing for Marcus Colston to be in the Hall of Fame. He's not going to be. Saints Hall of Fame? Yes. But Colston never even made a Pro Bowl as an NFL receiver and is not going to be a Pro Football Hall of Famer, nor should he be. But here's Hester, who's making it really on the backs of 20 return touchdowns. I don't know that I'm okay with that. Now, he's in. We're going to get all the announcements tonight, but it probably is an indicator of what the name of the honor is. It's a Hall of Fame. And I think sometimes we get confused, or we try to redefine a Hall of Fame to a Hall of Stat aggregators, or a Hall of Really Good, or a Hall of Great. It's a Hall of Fame. Who are the men or women within that specific sport or entity that helped define it? Like, can you tell? I think of it this way. Like, can you tell the story of that sport without that person? Or can you tell the story of that thing and not include that person, that group, that entity, that league? And with Devin Hester as the greatest returner ever, it's hard to tell that story. So on merit, like on the job he did as a receiver, absolutely not. As a specialist, there's nobody who was better at the thing he specialized in. But then it opens up the door to the conversation, should a long snapper be in the Hall of Fame? Like, what if you're a long snapper for 25 years and you never had one errant snap? Should you be in the Hall of Fame? I mean, it took forever to get a punter in there or a place kicker in there. So, I don't know. But Devin Hester's going in with Julius Peppers and Steve McMichael. We'll wait to see the rest of the Hall of Fame class as it's released tonight at NFL Honors. And I'll remind you that Jari Evans is a finalist. So, former Saints offensive lineman Jari Evans will find out if this is the year he gets in. And I think Jari Evans is a borderline Hall of Famer. And we have this conversation every year. And I don't think that he is a lock to be a Hall of Famer. I think when you had guys like Alan Faneca and Kevin Mawai, who we watched very closely here because they were former LSU Tigers, and the fact that those guys who seemed like shoo-ins had to wait their turn to get in. You look at Jari Evans, whose career wasn't as decorated in terms of the All-Pro honors and things like that as the two guys I just mentioned. it makes you wonder if Jari Evans' day will come. I would love to see it, and I believe he's worthy. He was in his era one of the best interior linemen in the NFL, and I do believe that he is worthy of being a Hall of Famer. Be curious if and when that might happen for Jari. We'll see if it's tonight. But NFL honors tonight. We'll see who joins Steve McMichael, Devin Hester, and Julius Peppers, the names that have been leaked as joining the Hall of Fame with the rest of that class. Okay, it's After Further Review. We're brought to you by Pure Restoration, pure-restoration.com. Scone, what's the mold thing you always talk about? Pure Restoration. Can't remember it? Just shoot me an email, a text, a tweet, DM somewhere. I'll send you the link and tell you exactly what it is. I want to remind you, if you got an odor problem, Pure Restoration can take care of that. Remember, odor is caused by different types of bacteria. It's bacteria causing odor. Or odor-causing bacteria is how I should say it. So if you've got sweat odor from a gym or a workout facility, locker room, like I can still smell our high school locker room. Like you take your shoulder pads, your helmet, just put everything in the locker, and you got 100 lockers of sweaty pads every day. What that smelled like, it'd be so easy for Pure Restoration come in, spray their patented non-toxic dry fog. As soon as it dissipates, boom, free and clear, all it killed, it's fresh smelling. It's Pure Restoration. Pure-restoration.com. That's pure-restoration.com. Kill mold, remove odor, sanitization as well. Hospitals, schools, you want to sanitize your space. So easy and affordable to have Pure Restoration come in. Pure-restoration.com. That's pure-restoration.com. All right, David Dellucci is going to be here in about 5 minutes from right now. We'll talk some SEC baseball. Tom Brady on his Let's Go podcast reacted to Bill Belichick not having a job, really going 0 for 7 in this cycle. Here's what Tom Brady had to say.
You know, I don't know the criteria for hiring these guys, for hiring coaches. You know, I have never been a part of it. I mean, I'm surprised that the greatest coach ever doesn't have a job. You know, absolutely. But, you know, I'm surprised a lot of things in the NFL. When I was a free agent, there was a lot of teams that didn't want me. There's a lot of things that happen that, you know, for one reason or another, don't go exactly the way, you think they should go.
Tom Brady's dad, Tom Brady Sr., recently gave an interview where he said of Bill Belichick, quote, "He runs a military system. It's a different generation. Bill is a great coach, but his interpersonal skills are horrible," end quote. That was Tom Brady Sr. One of the things that I really enjoy about when coaches and athletes leave their profession, like when they retire and go into media, or just when they retire, is they're no longer handcuffed by the obligations of being in a locker room, to your organization, to your teammates, to your players, whatever, and they can start to be more candid. And so that's when you start to get real stories of things. This is going to be a fascinating one. To learn more about the interpersonal relationship between Tom Brady and Bill Belichick as the years go along, because they did something in tandem that we'll likely never see again. I know people say that all the time, but I don't know that we'll see a quarterback-coach combo go to 10 Super Bowls or 9 together. So Brady went to 10 because he went to the one in Tampa, but they went to 9 Super Bowls together. I don't know that we'll see a quarterback-coach tandem. Like, look at what Mahomes is doing right now with Reed. They've gone to 4 and 5 years, but Andy Reid, there's talks of him retiring. Like, if Mahomes gets to that number, it's not going to be with Andy Reid. He will have done it with multiple coaches. So it's almost like Aikman. Aikman and Jimmy Johnson won 2 Super Bowls, but then Aikman won a 3rd with Barry Switzer as the head coach. I think of, Montana, obviously with Walsh, and then Seifert. And then Seifert won it with Montana and then won it with Steve Young as well. So, I think the ability of the player to do it with multiple coaches is interesting, but learning more about their interpersonal dynamic, I think, is going to be fascinating. As Brady's retired, gets more into the media starting next year with Fox, and then whatever may happen with Bill Belichick. It's just clear that at 72 years old right now, there were teams that just didn't want to give him the full autonomy that he wanted as a coach and as a general manager over personnel decisions. But is Bill Belichick done coaching? I mean, is anybody going to hire him? Another year older, another year removed. Boy, it'll be fascinating to see. But whenever it happens, if it happens, Tom Brady will be talking about it for Fox. Okay, it's After Further Review. Quick break. David Dellucci joins us next. Preseason All-SEC baseball team and projected order of finish by the league's coaches is out. David will Dellucci or Luch. I tried to go the abbreviated nickname and went to the end of it instead of the beginning of it, and then I didn't do his name right. I've only known the guy for 20 years.
Yeah, there was almost a Dellucci in there, too.
Dellucci. Luch. I got to get my fastball back. Got to get back into game shape. All right, David Dellucci is next.
AFR.
Brought to you by Rouse's, official supermarket of the New Orleans Saints. Rouse's.com, Rouse's.com. I went to Rouse's yesterday for lunch. I love going there for lunch. It's so easy. They got a bajillion grab-and-go options. You want fried chicken or ribs. You want seafood. I went with the beef and chicken teriyaki bowl with fried rice. It was awesome. Just grab and go. You want it for lunch or dinner, that's easy. But remember, if you're heading out to a parade route for Mardi Gras, get by Rouse's as well. Because, yeah, they'll have all your cold beverages and everything, family beverages and adult beverages. But also they have grab-and-go options for your entire crew that's going out to watch the parades. So you want like a big platter of fried chicken, they got it. You want ribs, they got it. You want sandwich trays or fruit trays, or you want to custom make your own, they can do that for you as well at any of the Rouse's locations. From Lake Charles to Orange Beach, Alabama, and points in between, there are 69 Rouse's locations. You know where they are. Rouse's, this feels like home.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has $20,000 off new 23 Ram 1500 Black Widow trucks, $20,000 off new Ram 1500 trucks, and all new Bayou Automotive vehicles come with a 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
There's never been a better time to catch a John Deere deal from the crew of Sunshine. Ask us about our low monthly payment options on our tractor packages and let the good times roll. With equipment strong enough to power one of the world's largest celebrations, we've got your needs covered too. Learn more about what it means to be powered by Sunshine at sunequip.com. Some restrictions apply. See dealer for details. Offer ends April 30th, 2024.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared toward seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
Yo, Jake here from my friends over at Community Steel Company located in Gonzales, Louisiana. The local place you can turn to for all of your metal building needs. Notice I said local, not Houston, not Dallas, not Atlanta, but right here in Gonzales. Visit them at their brand new state-of-the-art website at communitysteelco.com or pick up the phone and give them a call today to answer all of your questions on your metal buildings, roofing and sheet metal, and any other steel needs you or your business need at 225-647-2020.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
All right, the league's coaches released their projected order of finish for baseball and also the preseason All-SEC team. Good opportunity to get our buddy David Dellucci on the show. Luch, how are you, man?
Man, I'm doing great. We got 8 days until opening weekend of college baseball. It's coming quick.
Hey, what are these coaches thinking, man? LSU not picked to win the league? Are they crazy?
It is crazy. I would never count Jay Johnson out, man, not after what he did last year and what he's bringing back this year. The depth of the pitching staff is going to be amazing. But I think they're looking at the players that they've lost in Paul Skeens and Dylan Cruz, and they just don't understand what the talent that he has behind them is going to be like.
Hey, let's talk a little bit. I want to talk about the league as a whole, but let me dive a little deeper your thoughts on LSU. So with a rotation that's likely from jump, no pun intended, going to include Thatcher Hurd, Luke Holman, Gage Jump, where would you put that rotation for LSU among what are the projected starting rotations in the SEC this year?
The unfortunately for LSU, on any given year, that would be one of the top rotations. All of those guys have the potential to be first-round draft picks. This is the year where you're going to see Vandy almost return every one of their big horses. You'll also see Florida, who lost Brandon Sproat and Hurston Waldrip and just kind of went, you know what? We got a whole bunch of dudes that are going to come in there and probably be better. There's probably 3 or 4 pitching rotations in the SEC that has been labeled from other reports as being the best in the country. Arkansas is another group. I think what LSU has is they have the ability to mix and match early in the season. And let's not forget, last year, other than Paul Skeens, there was a lot of question marks all the way into the SEC tournament. Credit, Wes Johnson and Jay Johnson for moving some guys around and building them up through the year. I think that's what you're going to have to do with LSU this year is don't worry about what they look like in April and May. They're going to be totally different in June. And I think then, as the season progresses, you'll realize how deep they are, how good their bullpen is, and you may see a guy like Jump, or you may see a guy like Thatcher Hurd, who was good last year. You may see them take the next step and go into a frontline ace.
Dave Dellucci is our guest. So Arkansas was picked to win the league by the league's coaches. What do you like about this Arkansas team?
Well, their number 1 and number 2 starters in the rotation are fantastic. And if my memory serves me correct, we watched Paul Skeens versus Hagen Smith in the SEC tournament. I think Hagen Smith is probably one of your top pitchers in the country. Brady Tigert, when he's healthy, has the nastiest breaking ball in college baseball. And because it's so nasty, he deals with injuries over the last 2 years. Those two guys are frontline starters. Will McIntyre is a guy that can eat up innings behind them. And I think that's what you're going to see more of a pitching rotation that leads that team throughout the season, whereas in the past it's been offense and defense. They're not going to be as good defensively, but their pitching staff, it's just going to be really, really tough to get around those first 2 guys on a Friday or Saturday start.
Luch, let me ask you about your alma mater and really the state of Mississippi. I mean, I think this has been talked about, right? I mean, before LSU, the 2 previous champions were Mississippi State, Ole Miss, and both those teams missed the tournament a year ago. What has happened with those 2 programs, and is there any reason? By the way, Ole Miss projected 6th, State projected 7th in the West this year. Any reason to believe there's a bounce back in Mississippi this year?
The hardest thing to do in the SEC, and you can ask teams like Alabama and Auburn, is to move forward because everybody continues to get better every single year. If you have one hiccup, you lose your foothold, and it's extremely difficult to come back. Look, Mississippi State and Ole Miss combined last year had 15 wins. Ole Miss only had 6. Mississippi State only had 9. And everybody kind of made excuses of, they went all the way into the national championship. They were focused on winning it all, and they lost their footing in the transfer portal and recruiting. That may be the case. But since they did that, you look ahead of you now, Alabama has moved up. That's going to be a team that's going to be interesting to watch. They went into the super regionals last year. Auburn has consistently outplayed what everyone's expectations are. how do you move up, man? So I just think both those teams may take their lumps again. Ole Miss, unfortunately, just got a report that not only are they losing Hunter Elliott for most of the year, that was their ace that was lost on opening day last year, but now Xavier Rivas is out for the season. So I just think the hits keep coming for Ole Miss, and Mississippi State really doesn't have consistent pitching or didn't boost their offense over the offseason.
He's David Dellucci, SEC Network, does a great job. Love talking baseball with Luch. Let me ask you about the top of the East, Luch. The coaches projected Florida, Tennessee, Vandy. Who among that group do you like to emerge? Those three heavy hitters there?
Yeah, I think it's a given. Florida is probably picked to be one of the last couple teams standing when it's all said and done, just because the power in their lineup with Jack Caglione is also the top pitching prospect in the country. He hit 33 home runs. They brought over Bama's transfer Colby Shelton, who hit 25 as a freshman. Combine him with Cade Curlin, who hit 17 as a freshman. This team is going to crush the ball out of the ballpark. That reminds me of the LSU offenses in the early to mid-90s. They can just do it all from that standpoint. The pitching staff is really good, and it's really deep. Like I said, they lost Waldrop, they lost Sproat, but they've got Cade Fisher, Brandon Neely, a freshman who's 6'6", Liam Peterson. It's a great team. Tennessee just keeps reloading, man. They're going to have another good offense. They'll pick and choose some starters. They lost Chase Dolander, who was SEC Pitcher of the Year 2 years ago. Chase Burns transferred. That was the flamethrower at 100 miles an hour. But Drew Beam, their Sunday guy, is going to be their ace, and they're going to find guys that'll fill that frontline starting rotation. And like I said, Vanderbilt, they may have a hard time scoring runs because they don't have any boppers in the lineup, but an extremely deep and proven pitching staff. Carter Holton is one of the best, and Devin Futrell is a strike thrower. Both those guys have SEC experience. They're proven winners. That's more of your pitching and defense type of team that you can follow throughout the year. All three of those teams are projected to be in Omaha when it's all said and done.
Luch, if you look at the projected order of finish, I mean, the usual suspects are there. We've talked about them. Is there a surprise team that maybe you think has a chance to make a big jump this year?
So I'm going to throw a team out that it will be interesting to watch. They may be your surprise team. It's going to be Kentucky. They had the worst draw in the Super Regionals. Had they not run into LSU, they might have been able to make their way into Omaha, only because they figured out a formula to play all of the top teams. They had the number 2 RPI in the country last year, and their style of play is so different. It's more of a slash and dash. It's more of a bunt, move guys over, run, cause havoc on the bases, make the other team play defense, and throw strikes. Kentucky has the potential to surprise people. And South Carolina, who was really there for most of the year last year, injuries took their toll. They're going to return another great offense. Ethan Petre is a sophomore now, had a tremendous freshman career, a very offensive team with a good bullpen. So those two teams right there could sneak up and surprise people.
He's David Dellucci, former SEC legend, World Series champion in 2001 with the Diamondbacks, SEC Network. Do you like it the way that the coaches did, Arkansas winning the league?
I think Arkansas has got a great chance. I'm an LSU guy all the way. I'm not jinxing anybody because I picked them to win the World Series last year, and they came through. I think they're deeper this year. If Tommy White can get some protection, if Jared Jones can step up, if he can get some guys behind him to protect him in the lineup, LSU is deep. They've got some young guys coming up, and the Jay Johnson effect, man, is just too powerful. He finds ways to put guys in the right positions. I'm going to go back with the Tigers repeating. I think they've been there, done that. I think he's come out with a quote that they're not defending their title, they're attacking the title. And I love to hear that out of a coach and a team that's going to go out there. And like I said, they'll get better as the year goes on. We may see them take some lumps early, but they know how to win, man. And I like Arkansas, but I think LSU is going to be a repeat.
Good stuff, Luch. We appreciate it as always, man. Thank you.
Yep. Thanks for having me. Have a good day.
You do the same. That is David Dellucci. We appreciate a couple of minutes there. We're brought to you by Michelli Weighing and Measurement. You know where to find them, Michelli.com, Michelli.com. With 30 locations across 11 different states. If you weigh or measure something, you know the drill. They sell, service, rent the products you use to weigh and measure. If you're wondering what industries they serve, well, it's basically anything where you might sell, service, or where you might weigh or measure something. Aerospace, aggregates, agriculture, the chemical and petrochemical industries, energy, food and beverage, labs, manufacturing, transportation, waste, recycling. They do it all. It's Michelli Weighing and Measurement. Get to the website, see a list of their services. You can always request a quote online at Michelli.com. That's Michelli.com, Michelli, Michelli Weighing and Measurement, Michelli.com. Appreciate David Dellucci for being with us opening day for the LSU Tigers, the defending champs, a week from tomorrow. Musso at the box. Muse, I'm pulling up the YouTube channel here.
All right, yeah.
For people. Make sure you go subscribe up to Musso at the box YouTube channel. So Daily Pod, give us the update and the deets.
Yeah, I mean, there it is. Daily podcast. Man, we're fired up for game week. On tomorrow's episode, we're completing our kind of look at the new faces. So we're going through the freshman class and which ones are going to make the biggest impact. We're going to talk plenty Cam Johnson, plenty Jake Brown, plenty about all those guys. But, go to the YouTube channel. Just type in Musso at the box. Hit subscribe. Hit the bell. We can do that bit again. Hey. You'll get notified every time a new episode drops. And, of course, everywhere you find your podcast as well.
Today's episode about the LSU lineup.
Yes. So it was the second half of I like to do a listener Q&A, and really the first half of it was pitching. This half was lineups. There's a lot of lineup questions in there. Gave a projected lineup, all that kind of stuff as well.
Ooh, look at you there, Muse.
Look at that, man. We have a bit of a backdrop now too. We do have a bit of a backdrop.
Oh, do you?
Yeah, that'll debut on tomorrow's show.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Where'd you get the backdrop?
A friend. Yeah,
friend.
We'll say friend.
A friend gave you a backdrop?
A friend lent me. I don't think he gave it to me.
Okay.
I think it was a loaner.
It was a he.
It was a he. Yeah.
Was a he? Okay.
It was. Yeah.
Good.
He might be in this room. Might be. We don't know.
Paul gave you something?
It wasn't Paul.
Oh!
No, it wasn't Paul.
No kidding. Better be careful, Muse. People might think that all that I do is just make weed jokes about you.
Yeah. That's not all you do. That's a big part of it.
It is a part of it.
It's a big part of it.
It's definitely a part of it. Okay, Musso at the box. You'll go subscribe up on podcast or on the YouTube channel, Daily LSU Baseball Podcast. The defending champs, their title defense, whether Jay Johnson wants to say it or not, it's fine. It's their title defense. It starts on a week from Friday. So Musso started Musso at the box back. Daily LSU baseball content if you want it there. And if you're a business interested in sponsoring, sponsorship opportunities are available. As the program director of the station, I highly encourage any and all sponsorship opportunities. So if you want your name and your business associated with Musso at the box, call us. Let's make it happen. Let's do deals. That's what we'll do. We'll do deals. All right, it's after further review. You know what? You know what's going to happen in 28 minutes?
It's going to happen in 28 minutes.
Well, SportsCenter is going to happen in 28 minutes.
That's true.
But really in 29 minutes and 30 seconds. All these people think I'm so negative about Derek Carr. I'm going to say something nice. About that. You ready? I'm going to say something nice about Derek Carr.
Okay.
If you leave, you come on back. Top hour 3, I'm talking nice things about Derek Carr. Not all. It's not all going to be nice, but there's going to be nice things.
But there's a nice thing in there.
There's going to be nice things, plural.
Plural.
No, there's
okay.
Plural. There's going to be nice things that I have to say about Derek Carr. Well, that's coming up at the bottom. That's coming up at the top of next step, 28 minutes from right now. 29 minutes from right now. It's AFR.
AFR.
Evenings at the Renaissance continuing. They've announced their next event for Evenings at the Renaissance. Tell you about the Renaissance Hotel right there on Bluebonnet in Baton Rouge. Love the Renaissance Hotel. And this is a great series that they're doing to encourage you to come out. It's tapas and tequila. So it's tapas paired with their La Adelita craft cocktails, El Tigre, Paloma Spritz, Spicy Margarita, Tres Leches, Martini. It's a great opportunity to get out and have some fun and do something different. There'll be live music with Caitlin Renee February 23rd. Mark it, it's Friday, February 23rd. Friday, February 23rd from 6:30 to 9 p.m. So try their tapas, try these great craft cocktails, enjoy some live music. Great opportunity to get out, do something different than what you normally would do. It's evenings at the Renaissance. I love this series that they're doing. Highly recommend it. So check it out. Write it down. Add it to your calendar. It's evenings at the Renaissance, February 23rd at the Renaissance Hotel.
The importance of doing this fortified program and offering it to people down here is, number one, the only real chance you're going to get to do this is when you put on a new roof or build new. And through companies like HUDCO, who's kind of leading the way in this thing, it's going to offer the customers a huge advantage in the insurance market and the price of their insurance.
You know, we're not looking to make a fortune off fortifying. We're trying to give you a better product than our competitor at the moment. I'm trying to do something that he can. I'm trying to give you something better. So a lot of these insurance jobs, you're getting a re-roof, you're only paying your deductible. Let's sit down and talk about the fortified and let's see what it does to your insurance premium. You're getting a steal.
Yeah.
You're getting a brand new roof and a fortified certificate for your deductible, essentially. And I think we're rocking and rolling.
There's never been a better time to catch a John Deere deal from the crew of Sunshine. Ask us about our low monthly payment options on our tractor packages and let the good times roll. With equipment strong enough to power one of the world's largest celebrations, we've got your needs covered too. Learn more about what it means to be powered by Sunshine at sunequip.com. Some restrictions apply. See dealer for details. Offer ends April 30th, 2024.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
At Relief Windows, we're more than windows. We're windows, doors, party plank, and vinyl siding. But our number one product is always customer satisfaction.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
So much of this conversation around the Super Bowl is going to revolve around the quarterbacks. Patrick Mahomes was asked if he and his team have embraced the villain role. Here's what he said.
Not necessarily. I think I just like winning. If you win a lot and that causes you to be a villain, then I'm okay with it. But at the end of the day, I'm going to enjoy playing the game and try to win as much as possible.
It's weird that because Mahomes is a likable guy, and the Chiefs being a Midwestern city, like nobody hates the city of Kansas City. The villains, as they might be termed, generally, and I understand people get sick of teams that win all the time, but New England earned that with Spygate and Deflategate, and Belichick was just this curmudgeon, and he wears the hoodie with the cut off sleeves and mumbles through press conferences and is defiant. Like, there was a lot of reasons to feel that about the Patriots. I don't get why people would hate the Chiefs. I mean, Andy Reid is as damn likable a guy as you could possibly ever want to imagine. I mean, who wouldn't want to hang out with Andy Reid? I mean, seems like a great dude. Patrick Mahomes, son of a Major League Baseball player who has, I think, stayed super humbled and grounded and awesome. We're seeing one of the greatest, maybe the greatest start to a career ever. I don't understand the villain angle with the Chiefs, but there is a lot of history on the line actually for both of these squads. So let's delve into it. Hit me with my bet if you would there, Muse. It's a Super Bowl 58 edition of What to Watch.
Here's what we're watching this football weekend.
All right. Really weird not having football last weekend.
Yeah, it was. It stunk, to be honest with you.
Sunday's really sad. It's great, but then it's sad. Because when Sunday's over, you're done with football until August. Or July, Hall of Fame game, but it'll be a long time before you get football again. So lap it up, bathe in it. Okay, Muse, give me two things. What are you watching?
You want them both right now?
Yeah, fire away.
All right, so we're going to go back to the well on this one, man, because it's fascinating to me, and it's Patrick Mahomes as an underdog.
Yeah.
He's just been awesome. I mean, 9-3 straight up in his career at underdog. 10-1-1 against the spread. Chiefs
Weird.
sitting at 2.5 right now at DraftKings. Looking at it.
2.5.
I mean, I'm sorry, 2. It just moved. 2. And to me, it's just a really stinky line. Like, there's nothing I've seen from the 49ers that makes me think lately they should be a favorite over the Chiefs. But 66% of the money on the Chiefs, on the spread, 78% on the money line. I mean, which way do you go there? But Mahomes, he's been awesome as an underdog. 1-0 in the Super Bowl as an underdog as well.
I mean, you go with the Chiefs.
Yeah.
What do you do?
I mean, I'm not fading 10-1-1. Hell no. No thanks. And then
Brock Purdy in the Super Bowl with a coach that keeps blowing Super Bowl leads? Or Mahomes and Reed? It ain't hard.
Mahomes and Reed. That's where I'm going. I'm just saying. Yeah, you look at it. The Niners have some of the best pass catchers in the NFL. I'm hesitant to say receivers because McCaffrey's not a receiver, George Kittle's not a receiver. Yeah. But their quartet of pass catchers is awesome, specifically after the catch. The Niners lead the NFL with 6.5 yards after the catch per reception. They're going to have a tough test against the Kansas City Chiefs because L'Jarius Sneed and Trent McDuffie have been two of the best corners in the NFL all year. Sneed only gave up 1 touchdown, and that came against Josh Allen. McDuffie's only allowed 2 passing touchdowns and is one of the best blitzing DBs, hitting the quarterback the most times by a cornerback in the league this season. So I want to watch that matchup. Can the Chiefs get those pass catchers on the ground from San Francisco?
Paulie.
So I'm going to be watching the young gun, San Francisco 49ers quarterback Brock Purdy. He will be the 3rd youngest quarterback ever to start a Super Bowl at 24 years old.
Who are the two younger ones?
That would be Dan Marino and Ben Roethlisberger. They were both 23.
Okay.
Big Ben, yeah, man.
Big Ben in his second year.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah. Okay.
So Purdy can obviously go from a remarkable rise from the final pick of the 2022 draft to Super Bowl champion in less than 2 years. He did struggle in the reign of the divisional round against Green Bay and for the first half of the conference championship game against Detroit, but he has led back-to-back comeback wins. He's thrown for 519 yards and 2 touchdowns this postseason. And I'm also watching Purdy because of the tie to Clint Kubiak, who is currently the 49ers passing game specialist. So could this be a little preview of what we see with Derek Carr next year?
Okay.
And then I'm also watching the Chiefs running backs, Isaiah Pacheco and Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
Thank you.
Pacheco has been the lead back this.
I heard Taylor this morning say Hilaire. I was listening to OTB and Taylor said Clyde Edwards-Helaire. I wanted to jump through my radio and punch him in the face. Not really, because I love Taylor. He's great. He does a great job for us. But how can anyone who works here say Hilaire? Come on, man.
Hilaire.
Come on.
Helaire.
Not even Hilaire. It's Helaire.
Yeah, E.
Like Clyde has said this. He has pronounced his name. It's Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Anyway. Kelly Ha!
Yeah.
By the way, real quick, by the way. Were you done?
Pretty much.
All right, hit our little swoopy thing. Michael Anderson, our guy, Boot Up Customs, has designed, I don't think it's a problem that I say this, he has designed Clyde's cleats for the Super Bowl.
That's going to be
good. He did, I showed you the pictures. He did send me the picture. I'm obviously not going to leak his artwork, but they look really cool. So make sure when you're watching the Super Bowl on Sunday, notice Clyde's cleats done by Michael Anderson, our buddy. Also, Cali High, Boot Up Customs. Okay, legacy game for Andy Reid and or Kyle Shanahan. Actually, for both of them. With a win, Andy Reid would become just the 5th coach ever to win 3 Super Bowls. Do you know the 4? You want to guess?
Wait a minute.
You can do it collaboratively. Come on.
All right, Paul, you go first.
What was that again?
With a win, Andy Reid will become the 5th coach ever to win at least 3 Super Bowls.
Okay.
Who are the other 4?
Well, obviously, Belichick.
Yes.
That's the easy one. That's
Give
the
yourself a
layup.
ding.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Oh, my God. Names. Say names.
Lombardi?
No. See? You got 2.
Jimmy Johnson?
No.
No,
2.
not Johnson. Oh, gosh. It's the dude with the Steelers.
Yes.
God,
the
I
dude
can't
with the
think
Steelers,
of his name.
who is Chuck Noll.
Yes, okay.
The dude with the Steelers.
Do I get credit for that?
No.
Yeah,
Bill
Chuck
Walsh.
Noll. Bill Walsh.
Joe Gibbs. Those are your 4. That's it. Not Tom Landry. Not Vince Lombardi. Not Jimmy Johnson. Not Don Shula. That's it. That's your list. Andy Reid could join Belichick, Noll, Walsh, and Gibbs as the only head coaches to win at least 3 Super Bowls. It's incredible if he's able to get it. Shanahan, by the way, we've seen him in the Super Bowl before twice. Blew a 28-3 lead. Now, Dan Quinn was the head coach, but Shanahan couldn't ice the game away. Kept trying to throw the ball. I mean, remember when Matt Ryan got strip sacked?
I do.
What are you doing? Anyway. And then had against the Chiefs in 2020 Super Bowl, but 2019 season, had a 10-point lead in the fourth quarter with Garoppolo. Couldn't hold a 10-point lead in the fourth quarter. So Shanahan's Super Bowl legacy right now is you've got 2 of the biggest gag jobs ever in the Super Bowl. Now here's another shot. Let's see what he does. And then the other thing I'm watching is Usher Raymond. You better believe it. Oh, my God. I couldn't be more excited about this, Muse. I mean, give me Ursh. Kid, born in the 80s, coming up in the 90s. I mean, when you think about, it's probably the biggest hit of the 2000s.
For sure.
Of that decade, the biggest pop hit of the 2000s. But, man, you make me wanna, nice and slow, my way. I mean, you got it back. Girl, you got it bad. I mean, Usher Raymond is just, and I get it. I'm a really white guy. I get it. I went to a private school. I wear polo button-ups most every day. Actually graduated. I love Mizzen in Maine. Shout out. Great quality. Just recently got on a sneaker kick. I don't think Usher gets tons of cred or cool points because I love me some Usher Raymond, but God dog it if I don't love me some Usher Raymond. I am so excited about this Super Bowl. As excited as I was about the hip-hop halftime show when they were in L.A. a few years ago, Dre and Snoop and everything, I mean, this one might surpass it. This might surpass it.
Halftime shows are back, man.
Yeah.
They're all the way back for the Super Bowl, and this is going to be a really, really good one.
Halftime shows were great, and then Janet Jackson showed her boobie, and then they just went to like geriatric halftime shows, which they weren't any good, and then they've started to have a comeback. I think Prince, obviously, back in 2006 was a massive thing.
That was good. That was the best one in that era.
That was part of the geriatric shows, but he was awesome. Prince was great, as we all know, in the rain back in Miami the year that the Colts beat the Bears. But it's coming back, man.
Yeah,
it's coming
it's good,
back,
man.
and I'm here for it. Katy Perry was okay, but J-Lo and Shakira, I would have loved to have seen that
a few years
10 years ago. 10 years prior would have been great. 20-year-old Shakira, 30-year-old J-Lo would have been great instead of like 50 and 40. But yeah, I'm not here.
Still good.
They crushed it. They crushed it. They did. Ursher. If Luda comes out there, I mean, boy, I will be hype. T-Bob, I'm late. T-Bob and I will be at Don Juan on Sunday, so come join us. Super Bowl companion show. Come join us. Watch the Super Bowl at Don Juan Cigar Bar. If you're looking for a place, come hang out with me and T-Bob. Muse will be there as well. And if you're going to be wherever you're going to be, and you can't be with us at Don Juan, pull us up on the stream on the YouTube, Facebook channel. We'll be doing a live companion show for Super Bowl 58. We're looking forward to it. All right, it's after further review. We'll wrap up hour number 2 next.
AFR.
Brought to you by Glow Resources, GLO, glowresources.com. They are complete employer solutions. Have you gone and followed Glow on all their social media channels, Facebook, Instagram, etc.? If not, you really should, because they're doing really cool giveaways, like literally giving away cash. Like they literally gave away $250 in cash money this week. So get to glowresources.com, go on their social media, Facebook, Instagram, follow, and see how you can be the next winner and win some cold hard cash courtesy of Glow Resource. But most importantly, if you're a business owner, Glow Resources, they are complete employer solutions. At Glow Resources, their objective is to get you the right hire. 93% retention rate. They judge themselves and their success by retention and how long their clients stay with them. It's Glow Resources. Complete employer solutions. GLO, glowresources.com.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Bayou Ford has the new inventory to get you in a new Ford truck or SUV today, or customize your next vehicle just the way you want it. All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Yo, Jake here from my friends over at Community Steel Company located in Gonzales, Louisiana. The local place you can turn to for all of your metal building needs. Notice I said local, not Houston, not Dallas, not Atlanta, but right here in Gonzales. Visit them at their brand new state-of-the-art website at communitysteelco.com or pick up the phone and give them a call today to answer all of your questions on your metal buildings, roofing and sheet metal, and any other steel needs you or your business need at 225-647-2020.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps are held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
All right, Muse, Tigers in the pros.
Tigers in the pros. They still bleed purple and gold. They're just really rich now.
All right, here's a little bit of a different twist on Tigers in the pros for you. He's a former Tiger. He's in the pros, but he's not playing. He's coaching.
Ooh.
Former backup LSU quarterback Brad Cragthorpe has been promoted to quarterbacks coach in Cincinnati for the Bengals. How about that? He was the assistant QB coach this season, but he'll replace Dan Pitcher, who, of course, is now the OC in Cincinnati. So promotion for Brad Crackthorpe.
He scored against Notre Dame in that Music City Bowl,
He did score against Notre Dame in that Music City Bowl.
We got screwed.
And the fake field goal, awful. Was a touchdown. Brutal. Still not over it. But Brad Crackthorpe, the new quarterbacks coach in Cincinnati. He'll coach another former Tiger, Joe Burrow. How about that?
That's great, man. But who are the chefs?
Who are the chefs? Darius Day. Oh, is it? Yeah. It's so good. Darius Days.
You didn't even know about it until 2 months ago.
I know, but I love it now. It's great. I saw the remake, and I'm like, oh, man, here we go. 17-7 last night for Darius Days that was earlier today. A little matinee action in the G League. Knocked down 3 threes in the ball game as well. Get out to the golf course here and start on the Corn Ferry Tour. Why don't we? Because our guy. Our guy.
No.
Yeah,
My guy.
No, our guy, Big Curtis Thompson
you're
show.
a hater.
He started his day 1 over through 6 holes and then rattled off a birdie on 8, a birdie on 9, a birdie on 10, a birdie on 11 for a round of 3 under to start his day. How about that? Curtis Thompson making moves on the Corn Ferry Tour.
You know what? If you weren't with me at my, you don't deserve
lowest,
me at my. That
go.
works better in meme form.
It does.
With images, not with.
It does. Ben Taylor's 2 over, and Curtis and Sam Burns didn't get the tee off. They're suspended out in Phoenix right now.
You're suspended.
That's Tigers in the pros.
What do you mean they're suspended?
The round
what did
is
they
suspended.
Do wrong?
It's raining.
Oh, the round
is
said
suspended.
They're suspended.
Why? All the golfers.
No, I don't think so. It's not what you said. What do you hate Sam Burns too? You jerk.
No.
What's wrong with you? I'm going to say nice things about Derek Carr next on AFR.
AFR.
Brought to you by Traction, TractionSports.com, TractionSports.com. Y'all, next week is Mardi Gras. You know that much. And for a lot of you, kiddos are out of school. So Traction got you covered. Traction has Mardi Gras baseball and speed camps. So Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, full and half-day options. Register now at TractionSports.com. Parents, look, your kids are going to be out of school. They can either sit home and play video games and eat potato chips and candy bars. That's what I would have done. Or you can send them to Traction to get better. Baseball and speed camps, full and half-day options next week, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, over at Traction. And always remember Traction Elite Physical Therapy as well. If you're trying to get back in the game, whether you're an elite athlete, weekend golfer, or an ancient athlete, Traction can help. TractionSports.com. Traction, where champions are made.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has $20,000 off new 23 Ram 1500 Black Widow trucks, $20,000 off new Ram 1500 trucks, and all new Bayou Automotive vehicles come with a 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
It was a humid day, barefoot children play, looking for that summer shade. Time just slips away. Oh, Louisiana, some kind of hold on me. Like cypress stumps, your roots are planted deep inside of me.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
There's never been a better time to catch a John Deere deal from the crew of Sunshine. Ask us about our low monthly payment options on our tractor packages and let the good times roll. With equipment strong enough to power one of the world's largest celebrations, we've got your needs covered too. Learn more about what it means to be powered by Sunshine at sunequip.com. Some restrictions apply. See dealer for details. Offer ends April 30th, 2024.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play. with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Doug Brown. The NBA trade deadline has passed. The Knicks get Bojan Bogdanovic and Alec Burks in a trade with the Pistons. Detroit gets 4 players and 2 future second-round picks. ESPN's Chiney Agwumike.
This is what we've been waiting for. This is what the NBA has been waiting for. And what we're witnessing right now is the rebirth of the Knicks in real time.
Chiney Agwumike on NBA Today. Knicks forward OG Anunoby will be out at least 3 weeks after surgery to take out a loose bone fragment in his right elbow. Our Adrian Wojnarowski reports the Bucks will get Patrick Beverley from the 76ers. Philadelphia gets Cameron Payne and a future second-round pick. The Pacers get Doug McDermott from the Spurs. In return, San Antonio gets Marcus Morris, who was traded for the second time today. The World Series champion Rangers will sign ALCS MVP Adolis Garcia to a 2-year, $14 million contract pending a physical that will avoid salary arbitration.
ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. Looking for a career you'll love with flexibility, great pay and benefits, and one of the country's top workplaces? Come join their growing team. Go to progressive.com/careers and apply online today.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge Studios.
Let's ride!
Hour 3, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. It's AFR. I'm Matt.
This is Shaq O'Neal, and I hate Matt.
Paul O'Neal.
They're chanting Paul O'Neal's name.
Muso. And Mr. Toby Tom Play. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. 5 o'clock quitting time. Glad you're driving home with us. Get out there and make it a good one. Tim Brando in about 13 minutes from right now. Excited to have Timmy be on. Want to talk to him about Nick Saban going to College Game Day. Tim Brando was the first ever host of College Game Day back in 1988. So want his thoughts on that. Also want Timmy B's thoughts on this Sankey, Petiti, Big Ten, SEC alliance, what's all going on there. We'll talk about all that stuff with Timmy B here in about 13 minutes from right now. I have been accused of being anti-Derek Carr. That might muse, Paulie. That might catch you off guard a little.
Couldn't be you. You?
Yes.
What?
Hard to believe, I know. A lot of people look at me and they say, man, all you ever do is criticize the guy.
You gave him a lovable nickname. I mean, you love Derek Carr.
No, I don't.
Oh.
But I don't hate Derek Carr, as I've said many times. Seems like a great person. I just firmly believe Derek Carr will never win anything of significance with the New Orleans Saints. But I'm going to do something here that I don't always do. I'm going to give you some positive spin from Derek Carr to show you the other side of the coin. You know what? You know what they say? There's two sides to every coin. Did you know that?
Yeah, I knew that.
There are. There are two sides to every coin. And I'm going to show you the other side right now. That's what we're going to do. You remember a few days ago, Derek Carr went on that 2 Gs in a pod show and clapped back at Michael Thomas. Remember Thomas went on Twitter and criticized Derek Carr, and then Derek Carr went on this podcast and talked about Michael Thomas for 2.5 minutes, and I implored him, say less, and instead he did this.
I was like, you just call me, bro. Like, to say this, to say all these things, like, I felt like it was like we're doing like some middle school thing, man. Just talk to me. And Mike was great about talking to me.
Again, by you going on this podcast and talking for 2.5 minutes, you're doing the same middle school thing you're accusing him of doing. Just talk to him. I don't want to go there. I don't want to go there again, Muse. Positive. A lot of you say all you ever do is criticize Derek Carr. Well, on that podcast, yes, the comments about Michael Thomas were the things that got the most attention, but they talked about a lot of stuff there, including Derek Carr, his feelings on the 2023 season as a whole, which ended on a very positive note.
It's hard for people to understand, what's happening when you're not on the inside every day. And I get that. I've never been someone that is going to even tell you even close what's going on the inside. I'm going to give you a lot of words, but you're going to get nothing. We're dealing with injuries. We're dealing with getting on the same page. Like, everyone runs an in cut different. Everyone breaks their routes off. It's supposed to be 14. Some guys go 16. All that stuff is different. And they're getting to know me. I'm getting to know them. And so for the first half of the year, we are battling. We are fighting tooth and nail to get closer, understand each other, all these things. And then the last half of the year, there was one point that last half of the year where we were the number one offense in the red zone. We were a top 5 offense in general. We ended up winning 4 out of the last 5, but it wasn't enough. We earned 9 and 8, but I was really proud of the way we ended as a team.
Give you a lot of words, not going to give you nothing. Although he does certainly speak. You know what? Nope. Not Muse. Reel me in.
Don't go there. Come on. Come on.
But to his point, you won 4 of your last 5, which they did.
Happened.
One of the best red zone offenses in the NFL. They got better, right? Isn't that what you want to see?
That's exactly. You want improvement.
Yeah, you want improvement.
Long season.
Never mind the fact that your wins were against Tommy Cutlets.
Yeah, but it's a win.
The Panthers, the worst team in the league.
Hard to win in the NFL.
The Falcons, who didn't make the playoffs and were really bad and were volleying back and forth with quarterbacks.
Might have fired their coach.
They beat Tampa.
They did beat Tampa.
Playoff team.
It won a playoff game.
On the road.
Yeah.
Beat them. Boy, Derek Carr. Now, they did go out to L.A. The loss was they just got pistol whipped by the Rams.
It was a Thursday night, though, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Oh. Short week, man.
Short week on the road. Yeah, short week on the road.
Cross country.
Hey, look. Even said, hey, look. You built the way you did, and everybody's listen to how positive they are about what's to come.
Everyone in our building is really excited on how we ended. Now, the overall scheme of things, not good enough. We know that. But now we know the formula. We know what it takes, the sacrifice it takes daily, not only on the field, but that time spent together, that extra work, that, teaching guys how to watch that film, teaching guys, there's things to bring guys along and help our team be better that, that our coaches and Mickey, everybody pointed out. So we're in a place of inside our building, man. We are super excited.
Now they know, Muse. It took him 10 years as a starting quarterback, but now he knows.
He
what
knows
it takes to watch the extra film, that in cut. He knows. He knows now. They won 4 of their last 5.
They did.
Albeit 3 of the 4 were against totally garbage teams. You played a quarterback who was nicknamed after a piece of cutlet.
Piece of chicken.
Cutlet, yeah.
Yeah.
Cutlet. But now they know. Now they know. And they got a new offensive coordinator. And you know what? Derek Carr even talked about that process.
DA asked me for, I answered a whole bunch of questions about a lot of different people. I've, given input here and there. And then, that's just information DA to have as he makes the ultimate decision with Mickey.
I mean, this is collaboration. They're going to hire an OC. Now, listen, you could say, Muse, hey, if we started to figure it out at the end of the season, won 4 of the last 5. One of the best red zone teams in the NFL down the stretch. Well, then why did you fire your offensive coordinator if you were figuring it out? You could say that, but if you said that, you'd be negative. That's what you are. You're a hater. You're anti-Saints if you said that. So I'm not going to say that.
Okay.
You might say that.
I would probably say that, actually, yes.
Yeah, you could.
Because it's a valid question, but...
No, it's not. It's negative, and you're a hater.
Okay.
What this shows is collaboration, Muse. They figured out something really good. Now they're going to get something better. And if you're building behind Derek Carr, you want his input on who the offensive coordinator is going to be. That's what this shows.
It makes sense. I mean, you should want that.
And you know the guy they hired?
Yeah.
Clint Kubiak. You know what I decided to do? I said, let's go look at his last 3 stops and the quarterbacks that he's been. So this is his 4th team in 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. He was with the Vikings in 21.
Okay.
The Broncos in 22. The Niners in 23. And now it'll be the Saints in 24. Okay. So I said, let's go look at what he's done with the quarterbacks, what they did year to year. Okay. Niners, who's the quarterback this year?
Brock Purdy.
Yep. He threw for 4,200 yards and 31 touchdowns. The year before that, just 1,300 yards and 13 touchdowns.
That's really good. It's a big improvement. But
now he also only played 9 games.
Yeah, I was going to say,
but if you're pointing that out, you're just pointing out the negative.
Yep.
That's a dramatic improvement year to year.
It's kind of important.
Dramatic improvement.
He didn't play the full season, but yeah.
Now, in 2022, Russell Wilson.
Super Bowl champion.
In 2022, Russell Wilson threw for 3,500 yards and 16 touchdowns. His last year in Seattle, 3,100 yards and 25 touchdowns. So we're not going to talk about the touchdowns, and we're going to talk about that he threw for 400 more yards his first year in Denver than he did his last year in Seattle.
Could be the difference between winning and losing.
He improved.
Yep.
Now, he did play in one more game with Denver than he did the last year in Seattle, but it was an improvement, wasn't it?
Yeah, and that's really not his fault. I mean, they added a game to the season. He has no control over that.
Well, no, he played in 15 games and 14 the year before. Yeah.
Well.
Still missed time.
I
But
tried.
stop pointing out the negative.
I tried to make it positive.
You're being so negative. Now,
in
2021, he had Kirk Cousins. And Kirk Cousins threw for 4,221 yards and 33 touchdowns. The year before that, 4,265 and 35 touchdowns. Very simple, but in 2020, Kirk Cousins had 13 picks. In 2021 with Kubiak, just 7.
There we go.
It's proof every year that Clint Kubiak goes and works with a quarterback. They do better somewhere than they did the year before. Maybe it's because they had more games, or maybe there's a lot of circumstances that don't necessarily apply, but only negative people like you point that out, Muse, not me. I'm pro Saints. I am pro Clint Kubiak. I think it's a really good hire. And I'm turning over a new leaf today, Muse. Everyone says that I'm just super negative. I just hate Derek Carr. Nay. No mas. They figured it out, Muse. 4 of their last 5, they won. Doesn't matter who it was against. Those were NFL teams, weren't they?
That's hard to win in the NFL.
Hard to win in the NFL. I just dropped my pen. They're one of the best red zone teams down the stretch. They got a new offensive coordinator in there. Got that cancerous Michael Thomas out the building. Here we go. Black and gold Super Bowl.
Uh-oh, all right.
Saddle up. Tim Brando's next. It's AFR.
AFR.
Get Gordon and get it done. Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys. You know what to do. Go to getgordon.com. If you've been injured in an accident, it's not your fault. Go to getgordon.com. If you need representation, go to getgordon.com. Don't go it alone. Go to getgordon.com. For more than 30 years, Gordon has represented more than 10,000 Louisiana residents, collecting more than $2.6 billion in damages for their clients. It's Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys. Go to getgordon.com. That's getgordon.com. And, of course, Gordon not only has helped injured people in our state, but through the charitable arm of the firm, Gordon Gives, they've given back to the state for 3 decades as well. Go to GordonGives.com if you want to learn more. Throughout the different holidays, different times of year, and, of course, through all their NIL initiatives with the G team, Gordon continues to give back to the communities that he and his partners serve. Go to GordonGives.com. Remember, if you've been injured in an accident, get Gordon and get it done.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Yo, Jake here from my friends over at Community Steel Company located in Gonzales, Louisiana. The local place you can turn to for all of your metal building needs. Notice I said local, not Houston, not Dallas, not Atlanta, but right here in Gonzales. Visit them at their brand new state-of-the-art website at communitysteelco.com or pick up the phone and give them a call today to answer all of your questions on your metal buildings, roofing and sheet metal, and any other steel needs you or your business need at 225-647-2020.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
Well, we found out Nick Saban is going to be joining College Game Day this football season. The guy who sat at that desk at its inauguration was Tim Brando. Good enough to join us now. Timmy B, how are you, man?
I'm great, Matt. It's good to be with you, pal. Hope everything is well down in Red Stick these days.
It's great, man. Football season coming to a close on Sunday, but baseball getting ready to crank up, and people are excited, man, for sure. Hey, what do you think about Nick not only retiring but jumping aboard College Game Day? How do you think that's going to go? Him doing TV?
Oh well, I think that he's been preparing for that for the last 11 years, in my estimation. He certainly was when we were working. Spencer and I were working on the College Football Today at CBS. Whenever LSU played in the SEC title game instead of Alabama. And the year that Cam Newton played instead of Alabama, he was with us on that set. And he's TV gold. I mean, he'll be fantastic. My only question, really, and I tweeted this out earlier today, even though that is a 3-hour show now, and I watch a good bit of it as well as Big Noon, And all those shows have evolved. They're different now. And certainly College Game Day became an iconic show, and I have great respect for the guys that are on that set and have done such a marvelous job of hosting it. Chris Fowler took it to an incredible level, and Reese Davis has been a terrific soldier to fit into his size 22s when Chris left. But they've got so many guys on that panel. I mean, it's more than just an ensemble show now. I mean, it's like an NFL show now, where you see you could make up a cabinet based on the number of people they put on that set.
They do.
You know, I don't know if Joe Biden has that many guys to work with when he gets up in Washington, when he goes into meetings. And I think that could become problematic when you've got a guy as good as Nick Saban that has such a wealth of knowledge. You want him to have time, have room. And they have so many quick segments. A lot of it is commercial obligation. A lot of it is just a tightly formatted structure. Maybe it's because the producers feel that the attention span of the average college football viewer is very short, so they don't want to take any time to do anything in depth, take any deep dives on what's going to happen in a particular game, what matchups to look for in a given game on a Saturday. But that's where he could really shine. Despite what people might think or feel about Urban Meyer, there were a lot of questions about him because, you know, he had I think probably a reputation for being even more surly towards the local press than Nick had. And he's been fantastic on Big Noon. In a lot of ways, that shows emergence and becoming a quality competitor to Game Day was based on really Urban Meyer being the star of that show. They really let him go and tell a lot of stories, get the guys out there on the field and talk about what you need to watch out for with regard to RPOs, what really necessitates great coverage and the difference between a cloud defense in the secondary versus too deep, or all the different things that you hear analysts talking about. Fans don't always know what that means, and a guy like Saban could explain it as well or better than Urban. Yeah. So I think that's been the thing that jumped out at me about the Saban hiring. I'm not surprised at all that it happened. I'll be just very curious to see what direction they take him in and how much of the show's substance is centered around him, because in my estimation, it should be largely based on the substance that he brings to the table.
Tim, why do you think coaches do so well when they transition to media like that?
Well, a lot of them are used to it. You know, Nick was certainly called upon, not just by ESPN all the time, but by CBS too, as I mentioned. We had him on during those SEC championship games, and I wanted him to have more time, to be honest. I used to plead with our producer, hey, give us a couple of more minutes with Nick, because he understands the big picture. Plus, he's accustomed to speaking in snippets. You know, a lot of times on the set, you can bring a guy in that's a great storyteller, and it doesn't work because it takes too long. You got to be able to be succinct and concise, make your points, and do so with a limited amount of time. Coaches, by and large, are really good at organizing and structuring what they're going to say because they've been interviewed forever. You've seen that with guys that have been head coaches at LSU on those Tuesday get-togethers. Some are really good at it, and some really aren't. Brian Kelly would be, I think, fantastic at it because he understands what television's needs are. And he also has an understanding of how to explain to the casual fan what a specific piece of the glossary for a sport might be, for college football might be, and make it understandable to them. Not everyone's got that quality. Years ago, when I auditioned Lee Corso, Lee was great at it. I did Lee Corso's first audition for Game Day, and he was tremendous at it. But Lee had been media savvy from his time as a head coach, but also he had a great sense of humor. But you got to remember now, Lee wasn't just this funny guy that was the clown prince of Game Day. He was our meat and potatoes X's and O's guy. our clown prince was Bino Cook. So we needed him to be substantive. The other guy that auditioned for that job was Pepper Rogers. Now, Pepper Rogers was an incredibly gifted storyteller, but he had no understanding of time. You got to have a little bit of a clock in your head to be effective. And honestly, when Dale did a little television going to basketball, they brought Dale into the studio at CBS, I think, one year for the NCAAs. And he was really frustrated because, as you know, Dale is an unbelievably gifted communicator.
Yes.
But that clock in the head, it's not really there. He looks at it as a speaking engagement.
So true.
It was like, hey, Dale, when the guy says we need 10 seconds, that's what he means. He means we need 10 seconds, okay? Nothing more, nothing less. So I think that a lot of the coaches today that make that transition are already acutely aware of the time constraints that we have in studio TV. And that's why some guys are much better on games, because they're just saying what they see. And they need to have more time between plays to execute what they are saying. But you put them in a studio and they're hamstrung because, by and large, we're dealing with a clock when we're in the studio, and we got to move fast. I used to have people tell me, Matt, gosh, Tim, you sound a little different in the studio than you do on games. And I said, what do you mean by that? They said, well, your voice is a little higher. And I'm like, well, I'm doing an Evelyn Wood speed reading highlight, for Christ's sake. I got to get this thing done. When I'm calling a game, I can go all Facinda and take a deep breath and come in with those, dulcet baritone tones of mine. You can't do that when you're in a studio. You're a traffic cop trying to get everybody else involved.
Yeah. Do you think Tim Brando is our guest? Nick obviously stepping away was just a massive story, maybe the biggest story in college football in a long, long time. But there's also this sort of undercurrent, Tim, about coaches leaving their head coaching job. Jeff Hafley leaving Boston College. Now, I talked about it here, Tim. I mean, Hafley was making $400K at Boston College. Like, he's going to be the DC of the Packers, where he might make double, triple that. There's some of that, like Kane Womack leaving South Alabama. He was making $800K. He's going to make $2 million as Alabama's defensive coordinator. Like, some of it makes sense, but do you sense any of that within the profession when you talk to coaches?
That the money becomes the thing?
No, not the money, I guess, because part of the story about the head coaches leaving, was this idea that coaches are fed up with NIL and transfer portal, so that they don't want to be a head coach anymore. And I'm curious if it's that or if these were just isolated instances.
No, I think those are isolated instances. I think that any coach, I've not met a coordinator except really old school guys like Norm Chow. All right, back in the days that was at USC, and prior to that, he was at BYU. He was at NC State. He had Rivers back in the day.
Sure.
Norm Chow became a coach at the very end of his career, and he really didn't want to be anything but a coordinator. It just sort of fell in his lap at the very end. I think Mickey Andrews, all he ever wanted to be, the old defensive coordinator for Bobby Bowden at Florida State. And Brother Oliver, Coach Oliver at Alabama, and then later at Auburn, he was with Terry Bowden briefly. Those guys wanted to be coordinators only. Took great pride in that. But I think every coordinator today, down deep at their core, they want to be head coaches, at some point. The whole narrative about NIL and portal being a problem is brought on in some respects because we've seen in basketball Coach K leave, Roy leave, even Jay Wright, who's just barely past 60, leave. And now you see Nick Saban leave, and people want to go that route, and they want to say that it's more about the portal and NIL than it is anything else. I don't believe that. I think that Nick just didn't look forward to getting back into the scheme of things and organizing a roster once again post this season. I think he felt like a lot of those guys that he had that were back were guys that he wanted to see it through, to see them win a championship because it hadn't happened in recent years. And when this ended, I think that at this stage of his life, he was ready to do other things. Look, Saban from this position on game day can be, I think, a real difference maker moving forward with the movers and shakers in college football and governance. I think that Tony Petitti and the head of the Big Ten, and Greg Sankey's announcement this past week about working together and trying to set some parameters for the future of college football, with the understanding that collective bargaining is now going to become a reality and that the NCAA needs to be a thing of the past. I think a guy like Nick could be a very valuable go-to guy in terms of, okay, what are we looking at here? What are the things that we really need to address to make life easier for these coaches as we move forward, with the understanding that we're going to have NIL and we're going to have transfer portals, but we have to have some barriers. We have to have some standards that everyone has to deal with. Saban's the perfect go-to guy on that. And Nick and I talked about this, Matt, 7 years ago after he won the title in 2016. It's something that he was even thinking about then. And from his position on game day, holding an office in Tuscaloosa, if you notice, they were very specific. He's going to do the draft. He's going to do game day. And I didn't really see anything else. It's not like they're going to use
Media
him
Days was the only thing I said.
Yeah. Which what is that? That's just a coronation of Nick. Yeah, it's July, and now he doesn't have to worry about dealing with the red carpet and the paparazzi. He can just hang out with Feinbaum and the guys, and just have fans drooling over him, for a few days. So there's nothing wrong with that. Everybody wants to get some love. But they were very specific, which tells me the rest of the calendar year, Saban's going to be free to do whatever he wants. And I genuinely believe he wants to help the college game become all that it should be, because he and I have had that conversation. He knows the prism from which I come from when I'm critical of what's going on with college football. And even when I took shots at him sometimes, he understood that. And he trusted that my critique was coming from a good place. I think that Saban would like to do some of the same for those guys. And why shouldn't they go to him? Because he could be the Pied Piper and bring credibility to some of those statements that people have made that didn't bring necessarily the same cachet that a guy like I might or anybody else that's been a talking head for years might.
Transformative times for sure, man. Tim Brando, of course. Indeed. Man, it's always great we get a few minutes. The off season comes and it's like you got to make sure you make a point to check in on people. So, man, I'm so glad we had this time to visit. Hopefully we do it again soon, all right?
You got it. And by the way, that basketball team's not playing badly down there. They've had their moments.
Man.
I've seen some moments from that team. I think they're going to get it done eventually. I do.
Timmy B, people forget, man. We've talked about it plenty here. They forget the mess that Matt McMahon inherited.
Oh yeah.
I mean, you got to be. You almost punt last year, treat this year as year one, and give him time to recruit and build. Man, he'll get there. He's a good coach and a smart guy, and he's going to figure it out. I agree with you.
I don't doubt it for a second. I really don't. And best wishes to him and to that women's basketball team is setting the world on fire every time they play.
Yeah.
And I look forward to March watching it all. Check me out. I've got the Big East, Creighton and Xavier this week. Next week
Nice.
I've got Marquette and UConn. I think UConn and Purdue have separated themselves as the 1 and 2 teams. I'm not saying they both make the Final Four, Matt, but I think it'll be very difficult for both of those teams to be anything but 1 seeds come Selection Sunday.
It has been interesting, Tim. Like, there's nobody this year has been immune to disruption at the top. So I agree with you about Purdue and UConn, but boy, it does feel. Well, I mean, Tim, I guess I could say it feels wide open, but then look at the Final Four we had last year. So I mean, it really does. I mean, it really does kind of feel like that, doesn't it? Where I wouldn't be surprised if at the end of the year we're looking at something similar to what we had last year.
No, I don't disagree. And I think the first 2 weeks, again, are going to be just incredible. It all depends on when we get the exhaustive upsets.
Yeah.
Last year they came early, which sometimes leaves it for the Blue Bloods to still make it, from their respective regions into the Final Four. So, but on other occasions, it could be, in the Sweet 16 round. Like this Creighton team that I'm going to see tomorrow was 1 second away from beating San Diego State and going to the Final Four. They've lost their last 2 games by 1 point, but they're still ranked 19th in the country. If they get the right regional setup and the right matchups, they could make it to the Final Four this year with all the talent they've got offensively. So Yeah, a lot of teams that you're not thinking of that have never been to the Final Four could still get there, even though I do think Zach Edey's got some help this year that he hasn't had in the past, and UConn looks like an absolute juggernaut that can beat you every way imaginable.
Yeah. We are less than 3 weeks till March. We appreciate it as always, Timmy B. We'll check in soon.
You got it, Matt. Anytime.
Thanks, man. We'll see you. That is the one and only Tim Brando. This is After Further Review. Well, now I got a quick break. Otter Locks in about 15 minutes. Stick around.
AFR.
Brought to you by River City's 1 Hour Air, where they're always on time or you don't pay a dime. Look for the big yellow vans and trucks with the giant clock on the side. Something that's background most of the time. It'll just race to the foreground when you see it. You'll start to notice them all over town. I-10, Airline Highway, in your neighborhood. You'll see them in your neighbor's driveway. It's River City's 1 Hour Air. Got an issue with your AC or your heater? Trust the best. They have more than double the amount of 5-star Google reviews of the next closest competitor. They do amazing work. They do it right the first time. And remember, they'll save you money as well. Mention the Moscona special. They'll knock $25 off any system repair. So call River City's 1 Hour Air. I could not recommend highly enough you join their membership club. You get front-of-the-line service, membership club pricing, and complimentary seasonal maintenance, which pays for itself. It's River City's 1 Hour Air. 752-0001, where they're always on time or you don't pay a dime.
The best kept secret in town is out. Discover Tallulah at the Renaissance Hotel on Bluebonnet.
Bayou Ford has the new inventory to get you in a new Ford truck or SUV today, or customize your next vehicle just the way you want it. All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared toward seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
There's never been a better time to catch a John Deere deal from the crew of Sunshine. Ask us about our low monthly payment options on our tractor packages and let the good times roll. With equipment strong enough to power one of the world's largest celebrations, we've got your needs covered too. Learn more about what it means to be powered by Sunshine at sunequip.com. Some restrictions apply. See dealer for details. Offer ends April 30th, 2024.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs, even in the case of an after-hours emergency.
After Further Review with Matt Moscona.
Man, tomorrow's going to be a really good show. Terrio will be here because we missed Ryan last week, we'll take care of infield, outfield tomorrow as we continue our positional preview for LSU. If you missed it earlier today, the SEC coaches put out their preseason all-conference team for baseball and the projected order of finish. 2 LSU Tigers on the preseason all-conference team. Tommy White, first team. Hayden Travinski, second team. Admittedly, a little surprised there weren't any pitchers honored, but it's always goes, if you're going to put someone on, you got to take someone off. So I don't know to what degree it goes, and you'd much rather have players honored at the end of the season than the beginning of the season. I'll be curious also to see how this all goes with LSU in their everyday lineup. Jay has told us that they're going to plant Bear Jones at first base. Tommy White will be at third. Paxton Kling will be in center. I mean, Jay said that. It's like, want to just write those guys in the lineup every day and go, and you figure it out around them. As best I can tell, of course, they're going to platoon at catcher with Neal, Milazzo, and Travinski. I think Travinski's going to DH a good bit, obviously. We know Pearson's going to play second base, and it's just an opportunity to get another bat in the lineup. And that bat is freshman Jake Brown. So if you're going to put Brown in right field, Mac Bingham, the Arizona transfer, in left field, Kling in center, and that just leaves shortstop where it's likely Braswell to start. And we'll see if maybe a guy like Stephen Milam can't win some reps or win a job. But a lot of that will develop and evolve as the season goes along. But, best guess as they started, you probably do what you did at catcher. And maybe the opening day they start Travinski, number 8, the senior, all that stuff. Or maybe you DH, you start Neal or start Milazzo. I think ultimately it might be what they did where they started Neal and then Milazzo was a late inning defensive replacement. You could DH Travinski. But Jones at first, Pearson at second, White at third, Braswell at short, Bingham in left, Kling in center, Brown in right is probably a pretty good guess how they might line it up for the opener. Still, 8 days to go before we get there. We'll talk about it tomorrow with Terrio when he's here. All right, it's After Further Review, brought to you by DraftKings, official sports betting partner, Super Bowl 58. Otter's coming up here shortly. Good week for Otter. Didn't we go? We were 3-0 on Monday.
Correct.
We were 1-1-1 Tuesday.
Correct.
And yesterday we were 3-1-1.
3-1-1.
So 7-2-1.
7-2-2.
7-2-2. Thank you. So 7-2-2 for Jimmy this week on his college basketball play. Well, I guess that included 2 NBA plays from yesterday as well. But a good week for the Otter. So we got Otter Locks coming up. If you want to play along, you bet at the DraftKings Sportsbook. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Use the promo code Baton Rouge. New customers make a $5 bet on Super Bowl 58. They'll give you $200 in bonus bets instantly at the DraftKings Sportsbook, and everyone can take advantage of same-game parlays for Super Bowl 58. A no-sweat same-game parlay for Super Bowl 58. Do it now. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Use the promo code Baton Rouge. One word, Baton Rouge. $5 bet on Super Bowl 58. Any bet at all on Super Bowl 58. They'll give you 200 bonus bets instantly. That's at the DraftKings Sportsbook. The crown is yours. 21 plus, physically present in Louisiana. Select parishes only. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. Eligibility and deposit restrictions apply. Terms at sportsbook.draftkings.com/football terms. Licensee partner Golden Nugget Lake Charles. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 1-800-426-2537. Speaking of the Super Bowl, ticket prices have come down, but they're still super high. The get-in price right now, like cheapest ticket available in the secondary, the get-in price is $81.95, $8,195. That's the get-in price. That's the cheap seats. The top price seats. Now, this isn't like, you've seen some of those like clubs and suites. I mean, like, buy a ticket, sit in a seat. Not like the End Zone Club and premium, the suites. I'm talking about seats. The highest price seat right now is $37,620. For comparison, a year ago, where was the Super Bowl a year ago? Was last year Atlanta?
Oh, I'm going to look it up.
Atlanta?
I'm going to look it up because I don't remember.
I think last year was the new stadium in Atlanta. Mercedes-Benz Stadium, I think is where it was last year.
State Farm Stadium.
Oh, it's Arizona.
Arizona.
Okay, yeah. Arizona was last year.
Arizona.
So last year, the lowest price seat was $5,900. The top price was $33,000. So about $4,000 off the lowest and highest price from this year. So maybe that's Vegas inflation or whatever it is. But either way, it'd be really expensive to get in. So just watch it. Better yet, come hang out with me and T-Bob and Musso over at Don Juan on Saturday. It'll be a lot of fun. We'll have a companion show going on. You need a place to watch Super Bowl on Sunday. Musso, T-Bob, and I will be at Don Juan Cigar Bar in Town Center. Hope to see a lot of y'all. If you can't be there, we'll have a companion show rolling, so punch us up on the 104.5 ESPN YouTube or Facebook, and you can watch along with us. We'll get into our final Super Bowl previews and predictions tomorrow, so we'll look forward to that. Before we get to Otter real quick, thanks to Tim Brando was here. David Dellucci was here talking some baseball last hour. Sam Spiegelman, national recruiting analyst for On3, was here in hour one. You can catch anything on demand. But we had Tim Brando with us, and he was talking a little bit about the SEC Big Ten. He hinted at that SEC Big Ten allegiance with Greg Sankey and Tony Petitti. Well, Sankey went on with Feinbaum, and he talked about why he feels – he talked about a lot, why this partnership, all this stuff, but why he feels it's necessary. No, forgive me, keep playing number 5. This is what he's hoping they can accomplish with this SEC and Big Ten partnership.
Bringing it back to the responsibility that these two highly prominent conferences share to try to help introduce some new perspective, perhaps, some new ideas, some new thinking, or maybe even more important, help cut through the bureaucratic tape that we face so often as we try to affect change in college athletics. I think all of those are part of that phrase in your question, that this is bigger than just us.
Can I translate that? Because I know a lot of people don't know what he just said. Can I translate that for you, please? We make all the money, and we're tired of people who don't contribute to making the money dictating the way college sports goes. That's what Greg Sankey's saying. We have the brands, we have the money, we're going to make a decision, and we're not going to be beholden to the MAC and the WAC and the Pac-2 and the American and the Sun Belt and the South or anybody else. We're not going to be beholden to them anymore at all. Like, we have the brands, we have the money. We're going to make we're going to cut through the red tape and make the decisions. So, please, college football needs a leader to get through this time, and maybe it's these two guys. All right, last break of the show. Otter Locks is next. Stick around.
AFR.
Brought to you by Pluckers, Nicholson, Bluebonnet, dine-in, carry-out, or delivery with 28 flavors of award-winning jumbo chicken wings, ice-cold draft beer, full-service bar, sports on TV tonight and every Thursday. All you can eat boneless buffalo bites. What more could you possibly want? Go to Pluckers. Pay one low price. Eat as many boneless buffalo bites as you want all night long. And they're open until midnight or later every night of the week. So get them by Pluckers. You got the LSU women tonight taking on Vanderbilt. Need a place to watch? Get by Pluckers. All you can eat boneless buffalo bites tonight and every Thursday at Pluckers. Super Bowl Sunday coming up. Need a place to watch the Super Bowl? Pluckers, always a great spot. Or if you're going to be having your game watch party, might I recommend ordering your wings from Pluckers. They do take pre-orders, so call ahead, let them know what you want and what time you want to pick it up. They'll have it ready for you on Super Bowl Sunday. That's at Pluckers. Nicholson, Bluebonnet, dine-in, carry-out, or delivery. Pluckers. You don't like our wings? We'll give you the bird.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Yo, Jake here from my friends over at Community Steel Company located in Gonzales, Louisiana. The local place you can turn to for all of your metal building needs. Notice I said local, not Houston, not Dallas, not Atlanta, but right here in Gonzales. Visit them at their brand new state-of-the-art website at communitysteelco.com or pick up the phone and give them a call today to answer all of your questions on your metal buildings, roofing and sheet metal, and any other steel needs you or your business need at 225-647-2020.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
Down the stretch, we come final segment here on a Thursday edition of AFR. One thing left to do. Let's find out what we're betting on tonight. Time for Otter Locks.
Otter Locks, presented by Lofton Staffing Services. At Lofton, we put people to work. Call us today at 924-0200 or go to lofton.jobs.
So we turn to the one and only, the incomparable and often incomprehensible, the Ott Father himself, Jimmy Ott. Otter, how are you?
What's up, Matt?
Good night last night. 3-1-1. Your NBA angle was 2-0, so that was fantastic. I can't believe you held out on me all those years.
I mean, it doesn't. They don't pop up often, man. But I did know that they were going down last night. How about that? I mean, a couple of sleepers with the Pels and the Pistons. Huh?
I mean, a couple of underdogs on the road that won by double digits, including the worst team in the NBA. Yes, thank you very much. I'll take that anytime you got it. Did we lose Otter? I think. Oh, there you are.
I'm here.
There you are. Okay. All right. What are we looking at tonight?
Light schedule tonight. Let's start off. Temple played Tulane on Sunday, and man, they were catching 10 points, and they lost in overtime by 12. I mean, it was a rough beat. They've got Memphis at home. Memphis has really been struggling. They were fortunate enough to win, but they were a big favorite. Did not cover against Wichita State on Saturday. I like the way this Temple team is fighting right now. Matt, you're getting a wide variety of lines on this. When I think at DraftKings you get like a plus money at +9, like plus like 24 or something.
+9 at +114.
+114.
Still.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I like there's 10.5 and 11s out there also, but I would still even take them at +9 and plus money.
Okay.
And then later tonight on the Pac-12 is pretty much it in the smaller West Coast conferences. 2 in the Pac-12, couple of home dogs. First of all, Utah at home in Salt Lake City, tough place to play. Arizona's got all the talent in the world, but they're just not consistent. They've lost 3 games in this league. They could, and they've lost at some much easier places to play than Salt Lake City. Taking Utah +5.5 and buying it to 6.
Okay, Utah +6. That's coming back -120. And what's the other one?
Oh, okay. And then Oregon State at home against Washington State. Washington State, they did win in overtime against their rival. We know what's happening to Washington State and Oregon State. They're booting them out the league. They're moving on to bigger and better things. But that's a lot of points for Washington State at Corvallis, who has been playing better ball minus Saturday night when they got trounced by USC. So we're taking Oregon State plus a big number at home as well.
So it's 8.5. Are we buying this to 9?
No, 1.5 to 6.5. We'll stay with our system there. It's been good for us.
+8.5. Okay, so Temple +9, Utah +6, Oregon State +8.5. So 3 dogs tonight on the docket. Anything in the association?
No. That's it tonight.
All right, Otter. Tomorrow at Rufino's?
Ruffino's, baby, Friday before before the Super Bowl, man. Prop Central tomorrow, man.
Yeah.
Be fun.
Make sure you're locked in tomorrow with Jimmy and Charlie for Live at Lunch. All the Super Bowl props, the bets, everything you need if you're going to be playing on Super Bowl Sunday for Live at Lunch. All right, Otter, have a great show. Thanks, man.
All right, man. Take care. Good luck.
Be well. It's AFR brought to you by First South Farm Credit. You want to buy land, your first call should be to First South Farm Credit. Go to firstsouthland.com, firstsouthland.com. I love telling you about when Ben McDonald bought his hunting property. He financed through First South Farm Credit. Firstsouthland.com. Your first call, your first option since 1916. They're local, 44 branches across 3 states, and they can help you finance land in the entire contiguous 48. It's First South Farm Credit. So even if it's outside of Louisiana, hunting property in Mississippi, big piece of property in Montana where you want to build a ranch, First South Farm Credit can help you do it. Firstsouthland.com. That's firstsouthland.com. All right, been a really good show. We appreciate y'all for being here with us. If you missed anything, Sam Spiegelman, hour 1, David Dellucci last hour, Tim Brando just a bit ago earlier this hour. Tomorrow, Terrio's here. We'll talk plenty of LSU baseball. And also, of course, we'll give you our Super Bowl picks. Love telling you about Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. Got to do that as we get on down the road. Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. Energy-efficient replacement windows. Beautiful entry doors, hardy plank, and vinyl siding. They do it all at Relief Windows, and they do it better than anyone else. And oh yeah, they do indoor shutters as well. I'll never talk price when it comes to Relief Windows. I've never talked price because they'll never be the cheapest. If you're just shopping price, remember you get what you pay for. And at Relief Windows, you get quality, you get service, you get expert craftsmanship. It's Relief Windows. Experience, quality, service. Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. All right, it's going to do it for us. Muse Paulie, I appreciate it. One more time. Otter, Temple +9, Utah +6, Oregon State +8.5. That's your 3-pack on Otter Locks. Y'all have an awesome night. We'll see you tomorrow at 3.
AFR.
When it comes to ending cancer, we push forward, always working together for you. That's why our cancer experts at Ochsner have clinically integrated with MD Anderson Cancer Center. This means advanced cancer care, including access to life-saving clinical trials and integrating care to treat the whole you. Introducing Ochsner MD Anderson Cancer Center. Long live you.
Bayou Ford has the new inventory to get you in a new Ford truck or SUV today, or customize your next vehicle just the way you want it. All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
The importance of doing this Fortified program and offering it to people down here is, number one, the only real chance you're going to get to do this is when you put on a new roof or build new. And through companies like HUDCO, who's kind of leading the way in this thing, it's going to offer the customers a huge advantage in the insurance market and the price of their insurance.
You know, we're not looking to make a fortune off fortifying. We're trying to give you a better product than our competitor at the moment. I'm trying to do something that he can. I'm trying to give you something better. So a lot of these insurance jobs, you're getting a re-roof, you're only paying your deductible. Let's sit down and talk about the Fortified and let's see what it does to your insurance premium. You're getting a steal.
Yeah.
You're getting a brand new roof and a Fortified certificate for your deductible, essentially. And I think we're rocking and rolling.